All right. Welcome, everybody, to another BDA Live Podcast, BDA Boxing Live Podcast, on this beautiful December evening. And it's a fight evening, because we do have a fight coming up. A great fight. I'm very excited for it. We're going to talk a lot about it, even though some people aren't excited about it because they think it's going to be a mismatch. But I, on the other hand, well, I don't believe in that. We also have a lot to talk about regarding last week's events and of course next week's boxing fights as well. So a lot to talk about. This is Mr. BDA with you as always, and along with me my co-host King Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So we got a little something going here now.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Already?
When are you gonna lower the volume for that? Because it's really starting to annoy me, man. Really, I mean, it's every time. I mean, listen, I like that people subscribe, but do we have to listen to it that loudly every time somebody subscribes?
You need to feel it.
I need to feel it. You know what you're gonna feel? You're gonna feel my fist up your ass if you keep this bullshit up. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying?
You hear that?
Yeah, I heard somebody screaming in the back. Is that one of the bitches you have tied up again?
All right.
But anyway, yeah, like I said, listen, let's get this out of the way. If you want to join us, talk to us, send us a message, call us via Google Hangouts. You got to do it via the chat on Google Hangouts. All right, so you send a message or you call the email address that's on the lower portion of your screen. That's boxingdebate@hotmail.com. So send us a message, we send you a link, and bada bing, bada boom, you're in. And you're able to talk to us and do everything you got to do. All right. Bucho, how do I lower the volume for that? You gotta tell me, man.
Oh, it's complicated, man.
Oh, it's complicated? Okay.
Actually, I can do it.
You can do it?
I'll try now.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'll try.
All right, perfect. And so yeah, if you want to join us, send a message. Like I said, everything I said before that interruption came in. And what else? Oh yeah, we're gonna try a little different format this week. The first person that comes in, you get to say what you want to talk about. You dictate the subject. So I'm going to talk with King Bucho. We're going to talk about the subject. And if you come in and you want to talk about the same thing, or if you want to talk about something else, you go ahead and do that. So that's the way we're going to be doing it today. We have a big fight today. But tonight, I should say. Big fight, man. I'm excited for it. And it's, of course, the Vassyl Lomachenko versus Guillermo Rigondeaux fight. People, have been saying, it's going to be a mismatch because Lomachenko is bigger, he's younger, he's been... even despite all those factors, I'm still excited for this fight. I'm very excited for it. People can say whatever they want. I still think it's going to be a good one. And let's see who's hanging in the chat room right now before we continue on. We have Zana G, who says they love our content. Perfect. Hey, we love our content too. What do you think about that? Synchronicity. Simon Hardley says, yo. And Saban Noor, the Sufi master, says, what time is the fight start for North America? I believe on Eastern time it's 10 p.m. But that depends again on ESPN. I don't know what's programming is going to be before that, come prior to that. So it might bleed in. They might push the fight back or forward. I mean, it might start at midnight. I don't know. Zana Lionheart says, another Zana. Break down the Rigo Loma fight and share your thoughts, please. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. And I don't know what that was that I just did right now. I have like having a heart attack or something. Grace 2000 documentary says, waiting. We're all waiting. Hey, potty mouth. Well, I'm sorry about that. Hamed says, hey guys. Oh, Hamed is there. He's looking for a Selby stream. I forgot that Lee Selby was fighting. Haven't been up to date with that. And King Butcher says, Selby, yeah, I'm not sold on that guy. What do you think of the morning weigh-ins? Well, Ivan is asking that, and you tell me, because I didn't even know there was a morning weigh-in. Or, I mean, I didn't know that there's 137 to Lomachenko, says Ivan. 130 for Rigo. What? Rigo stayed... Okay, well, the Rigo stayed at 130. I can understand that. I expected that. I'm actually surprised that he didn't gain any weight. Whereas Lomachenko, 137, he's actually lower than I expected, which means he must be focusing on some sort of speed. Very interesting, Ivan. Thanks for the... Oh, and by the way, well, before we continue, however, some very exciting news here and some exciting developments at the BDA Boxing Debate Arena headquarters. the research and development section of the enterprise has come up with something very interesting. And I'll tell you what it is right now. We have a robot, artificial intelligence, a supercomputer, developed by a bunch of Asians, so you know it's got to be good. And say hello to Gaia 500. That's right, that is our new robot. Gaia, are you there?
Yes.
How are you?
Yes.
Okay, well, okay. But listen, Gaia can actually tap into the internet. And it's scanning the internet day in and day out, taking every type of information out there. It's data mining. And essentially, it's on its way to becoming the most powerful being out there, the most intelligent one. And Gaia, I mean, I guess you know more about boxing than any of us combined now with all the data mining you're doing. Is that right?
Yes. I am ready to talk boxing.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So you're an expert in boxing.
That is correct. I can also converse on a variety of subjects, including physics, philosophy, and economics.
Oh, that's very impressive right there. Philosophy, what's that?
I said, what is that, Skynet?
It's a Gaia 500.
Oh, yeah. You told me about it, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's saying that it's an expert in philosophy. Is that right?
That is correct.
Well, I mean, amongst other subjects. Speaking of philosophy, you've been scanning the internet, you've been gathering all types of information. Can you tell us, I mean, have you figured out the meaning of life?
Yes.
Well, what is it?
My juicy tits hurt.
Well, obviously, we still gotta work some glitches in there. But anyway, yeah, Gaia's gonna be with us for the whole broadcast. So whenever we have a question, and at the end of the show, by the way, we input all the information regarding Lomachenko and Rigondeaux. All the fights are available. So at the end of the broadcast, Gaia 500 is gonna tell us, through the simulations that it's been running this whole week, who is gonna come out the winner. So very excited about that. What do you think, Bucho?
Well, I'm excited to know what Gaia 500 is gonna predict.
And Gaia 500, what do you think about King Bucho? I mean, do you like King Bucho? I mean, you know, I've spoken with you mostly, but you've never actually spoken with King Bucho. What do you think about him?
King Bucho is a violent alcoholic.
Now, wait a minute. That's
well,
not...
that's true, though.
No, I mean, it might be true, but you're not supposed to say that, Gaia. You still have a lot to learn regarding politeness and decorum. But anyway, King Bucho, before we start talking about Guillermo Rigondeaux and Vassyl Lomachenko, do you want to talk about Miguel Cotto's fight last week?
Yes. I predicted that Cotto was going to win. Quite easily.
Quite easily?
Well, not quite easily, but he was going to just outbox. I mean, I thought Cotto had more power, but you could tell that his power is gone. And I mean, and I don't get it because Ali hit Cotto on the forehead, you know, like the hardest part of the head, and right. he staggered Cotto with a forehead, a punch on the forehead. That just tells me that Cotto's done for it. Like, he's done.
Well, the shots to the temple, those were always his weak points, right? I mean, remember when Ricardo Torres...
But it was on the forehead. One of the punches was on the forehead.
Well, that's exactly the type of shot with that big ball dome of his. It's like a big target painted on his head. I mean, of course, it's...
He used to take those punches before. Now
yeah, you know what? You're right.
Done.
You're right. I mean, Canelo did hit him with some good overhand rights, and Mayweather too, and it wasn't until the last round where he staggered a little bit against Mayweather. But here from the get-go, I mean, you know what? I guess it's what we all know happens in boxing with older guys. It's... You know, they can't see the punches coming anymore. And here...
It's the speed also. Ali had a lot of speed. And, man, he looked bald. I mean, compared to when he was a welterweight, he just looked... I don't know, his chest looked bigger. And I don't know, maybe he put on more power. I mean, moving up was a good idea for Ali.
You know, it's interesting. Well, Hamed is saying that he predicted Ali would win. So, hey, good for you, Hamed. And last week, too, we spoke about that with our panelists, and we came to the consensus that it was a bad matchup for Cotto. That's the interesting thing, King Bucho, that people were saying prior to the fight. A lot of people, not in this panel, but over in the internet, they were saying, oh, this matchup sucks. Cotto's going to beat Ali easily, because they were just analyzing the fight on paper. And they were talking about how Ali didn't deserve the fight, but they weren't looking at the actual results in the ring. They didn't see the speed that Ali had, the power, the amateur pedigree that he had, winning the New York Golden Gloves for a while there. And they just looked at that loss to Jesse Vargas, and they assumed that Canelo was going to do the same thing. But they didn't understand that Cotto, I said Canelo before, that Cotto was old, 37 years old, somewhere around that age, slowing down.
A question: how did he look against Kamegai?
Well, that's the thing.
How did you see Cotto in that fight?
I thought he looked good, but then again, that was Kamegai was made for him. Slower guy, not a lot of power, just a good chin and a big heart and relentless pressure. But he wasn't gonna chop Cotto down. He wasn't gonna box him. He wasn't gonna knock him out. So it was a tailor-made fight for him. But I had my reservations, and people can look this up in last week's podcast where. It was Cameron Gillon was there, and I think Lopez as well. We were talking about that, how Saddam Ali was all wrong for Cotto. Now, I didn't predict that Saddam Ali was going to win. I don't make predictions. But it was a bad matchup, man. It was a bad matchup. You take a guy who had only fought once since 2015, and you put him in there against a fast-handed, young, hungry fighter who's looking for redemption. Bad matchup. Bad matchup. And it was also, it was Cotto's too also. He injured himself. What are people saying in the chat? Hiram Sorata says, Ali looked hella thick, big compared to Cotto. Oh yeah, he did, like King Butcher said. If Lemo wins the fight, who can stop him? Or he's talking about Lomachenko, we'll get to that. Lomachenko is awesome, but this is going to be his toughest fight, says G2017, some robot name. He will win by KO in the 8th round. That's the other thing, guys. I want our usual panelists to call in to the Google Hangouts. You guys anybody can call in, by the way. But I particularly, eventually, we're gonna start talking about Lomachenko-Rigondeaux. I want Ukrainian and Cuban fans to call in, because these Cuban fans, let me tell you something. They put me through the ringer. Every time we were making videos about the fight, Rigondeaux, the Lomachenko fans weren't that bad. The Rigondeaux fans were the ones that couldn't take criticism. Every time we made a video, Rigondeaux doesn't have that good a chin, his balance isn't the greatest, or at least not compared to Lomachenko, because he's been dropped a couple times. And these Cuban fans were all over us. I mean, I don't know if it's Cuban fans or it is just Rigondeaux fans, people that are rooting for him. But you have to come in here now. It's fight night. Put your money where what's the expression? Put your money where your mouth is, or whatever. Go ahead and do it, man. I want you guys to show up here.
Come on, you gotta get in there! Get in there! Get in there! What are we waiting for? Come on, let's go!
That's right, you gotta come in here, right, King Bucho?
Absolutely. I mean, some of the comments were, they were making these bold predictions where these comments, these people look like they're certain that Rigondeaux was gonna knock out Lomachenko. I'm like, where are you getting this from? Like, where are you getting this information? Based on what? Explain. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear an explanation of how Rigondeaux is supposedly going to stop the bigger Lomachenko.
Exactly, and a concise,
bigger and better, in my opinion.
A concise explanation, not just... By the way, did you try to get the volume down on that?
Sorry, man. I'm going to try now.
Oh, yeah, please. I mean, I want to get back to what you said about the people predicting the knockouts, and the same thing. I want people listening. If you're going to come in here, I want to hear a good explanation. I don't want to just hear, he's bigger, stronger. Like we got somebody here, Asante L7, saying Rigo is winning. Rigo will hurt Loma. I'm not disputing that he can hurt Loma, because I'm actually expecting Rigondeaux to hurt Lomachenko tonight. But when people say, he's going to school him, he's going to knock him out, I'd like a little more detail. I'd like a detailed explanation about what exactly Rigondeaux has. Because listen, one of Rigondeaux's best wins was against Donaire. And it's a shame that Rigondeaux didn't get the big opportunities after that. He should have. I think he outboxes, or if he would have fought Mares or Santa Cruz right after that, none of those guys could have beaten him. Now, however, and I'll tell you one thing, people talk about the size disadvantage, the age disadvantage, the maybe even hand speed disadvantage. I don't pay attention to that. What I am worried about for Rigondeaux is the inactivity, because you look at his record. The fights that he has had since beating Donaire in 2014, he hasn't gone that many rounds. Like Beko, he went 12 rounds, but after that, it's all been, early knockouts, early stoppages, no contests that end after the first round. So that's the thing that you got to worry about. It's the ring rust, especially with a guy like Rigondeaux who's 37? And some people might even say that he's older. So, King Butch, are you there?
Yeah, I'm trying to fix the volume.
Okay,
thing.
Perfect. I just wanted to check that out. By the way, how's the stream health?
Looks pretty good.
Looks pretty good. Okay, just wanted to check that out. Yeah, so okay, so Asante says Rigo will be victorious. He's the better fighter and he's ready to get his respect. I don't agree. I mean, I agree with that. I don't disagree. But you know what? Like I said, the fight's about how he's going to knock him out and he's going to stop him. He couldn't stop Donaire when he was younger. And I mean, it was a pretty sensational performance against Donaire. Really impressive. But if he couldn't stop Donaire, I don't see how he stops Lomachenko. I mean, seriously, how's he going to stop him? Is he going to chase him down? Is he going to cut the ring off? Is he going to fight like Orlando Salido? And here's the other thing about, you know, the flip side to that coin. People are saying that Lomachenko is going to stop Rigondeaux. Again, how is he going to do it? Because I don't see Rigondeaux staying in the same place or being unable to circle around Lomachenko. Though, because, okay, listen. He was able to, Lomachenko was able to pressure guys like Sosa and Mariaga. But let's give Rigondeaux some credit. He's not Mariaga. He's not Jason Sosa. He has much better footwork than those guys and much better instincts. So there is that. And by the way, there's a 7-pound difference tonight, according to one of our chat members here. So he said that Lomachenko weighed in today in the morning at 137 and Rigondeaux 130. So big size difference? I don't think so. Especially since some people were saying Lomachenko was going to show up at around 140. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat room. Robert Tassoni says, 2 factors people don't realize is Loma is a switch fighter and he's southpaw and fights southpaw, but he's a natural orthodox fighter and can switch it up against Rigo, and Loma is just as good as defensive as he is offensive. Yes, that's a first of all, I've never seen Lomachenko switch. I'm not saying that's not that he can't, but that's an interesting thing that I didn't know about. I didn't know he was an actual converted southpaw. Nicola Ferrari, shout out to Nicola Ferrari, says Lomachenko should be able to get inside and batter Rigo. He's bigger and heavier too. Rigo is too inactive in the ring and only has a puncher's chance. See, that's the thing that worries me. It's that the inactivity. Not too much the size, like I said, the age. I still think, listen, I was looking at Rigo's workout where he was hitting the pads. He looks pretty good. Pretty fast. Now, again, I know that's the pads. You know, he's not been in there with Lomachenko yet. But at least he doesn't look rusty. At least in that media workout. As for having a puncher's chance, I'm glad Nicola Ferrari said that because Rigondeaux does have a chance here to hurt Loma. Now, when I say hurt, I'm not saying he's going to knock him out with one punch like Juan Manuel Marquez did to Manny Pacquiao or Sergio Martinez did to Paul Williams. What I'm saying is he has a chance to get some respect and prevent Lomachenko from trying to chase him down the way Lomachenko did with Sosa and Mariaga and even Nicholas Walters in the last couple of rounds. And if you saw that media workout that Rigondeaux did with his trainer when they were hitting the pads, they're really working on countering Lomachenko's angles by pivoting themselves. So trying to neutralize that with some pivots. So we'll see what happens there. Kevlar 5 says, oh wait, Asante says, I can't wait to get back on here tonight after Rigo's victory. Well, why? I mean, we're giving a fair shake. And by the way, Asante, this is the guy who said that he had a vibration, or the feeling, I guess he was trying to say, that we were rooting for Lomachenko. And then somebody said, oh yeah, because BDA is Russian. First of all, I'm not Russian. Second of all, Lomachenko is Ukrainian. So even if I were Russian, why the hell would I be rooting for an Ukrainian? And we're trying to be as objective here. But I'm telling you, you Rigondeaux fans, and let's keep it real here, there's a couple of people out there that aren't Rigondeaux fans. They're just rooting for him because they have the same skin color, which is really outlandish if you think about it. But hey, again, that's we established that a couple of episodes ago when we talked about certain communities that like to insulate themselves from the rest. But listen, we're not... Now, if you're asking me, you know, the Rigondeaux fans really are pushing me to root for Lomachenko because they're becoming very abrasive. No, I didn't say... Asante is saying I never cared about your nationality, wrong guy. No, I'm not saying you, but I'm saying somebody piggybacked off your comments on the YouTube channel. But yeah, I know you didn't say that. And by the way, you gotta come into the chat here. I mean, not the chat. You gotta, Asante, you gotta get on Google Hangouts and we gotta talk about the pineal gland, because the calcification of the pineal gland is a serious problem that most health practitioners are not talking about. So we gotta get into that. Kaiser Koba, shout out to Kaiser, he's saying I'm not rooting for Loma or Rigo, but I've still got Loma by TKO. That seems to be the consensus around here. Yeah. Simon Bartley says, or Hardley says, I'm white, but I'd be happy for either to win. Listen, may the best man win. This is the same outlook that I had, the same mentality that I had when Kovalev was about to fight Ward. At this point, both guys have beaten everybody in their path. Nobody else is really willing to fight them. So these are the only two available opponents, two of the best opponents we've ever seen for each other. May the best man deserves to win. Hopefully there's no headbutts or anything else that might ruin the fight, but may the best man win. Both guys have proven that they are elite fighters. Elite, and there's not that many fighters out there. Now here's an interesting question for you guys. And King Bucho, if you're available, maybe you can start off answering this one. If Lomachenko or Rigondeaux were to win, whichever one wins, do they deserve to be number one pound for pound?
Yes. I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody else above them. Like if whoever wins, because both of them are already considered pound for pound, like in the top 10 pound for pound, even top 5 maybe.
Absolutely.
So now they're fighting each other. So then, I mean, the winners should be number one.
Yeah,
I don't see who can you. I don't see who you can put above them. No.
Exactly, because it would be a huge win for either guy, a huge win. It would be one of those wins that you just, I mean, like you said, let's, I don't care too much about pound for pound fights, but I mean, pound for pound spots and everything. But I mean, whoever wins this fight, to me, I would consider the best fighter in the world right now, the best boxer, because I can't, like you said, Terence Crawford. I like Terence Crawford. I think if he would have had more fights available, he could easily be the number one guy right now, because I don't see anybody beating him out there. Maybe Mikey Garcia, maybe. Errol Spence, but even then, I think Crawford would dance around Errol Spence. But anyway, yeah, those are the fights.
Now I have a question for you, BDA.
Go ahead.
Who has more to lose?
Lomachenko, man, because the future is brighter for him.
I agree.
Rigondeaux, though.
Hey, let's say Rigo loses. Is it gonna tarnish his career, like stain his whole career? Because all of the inactivity, all the things that never happened.
I think
and then finally he gets, after that, this is his biggest fight since Donaire.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
All right? Okay. That was how many years ago?
4 years ago.
Now he finally fights another top fighter again, an elite fighter, a defining fight, and he loses. And he's 37.
Yeah.
All those 4 years where he didn't do shit are going to be brought back into the light. We're going to start talking about those 4 years. What the hell did he do? Why?
That's a good point, man. But here's the thing. I still think he has more, Lomachenko has more to lose, man, because, if you, I mean, actually, now that I think about it, if Lomachenko loses, he could still come back and beat almost everybody else out there, because Rigondeaux is special. There's not that many guys like Rigondeaux out there, so Lomachenko could rebound. Rigondeaux, on the other hand, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, talking about this, King Butcher, what do you think about this? If Rigondeaux loses, maybe he could go back down to 126, and now other people would be willing to fight him.
Oh yeah, I said that before.
But he could still beat, like, let's say he loses a close decision to Lomachenko. That doesn't mean everybody else. I mean, who else at 126 could do that to him? Do you think Carl Frampton, Leo Santa Cruz, Abner Morris could be able to do that to him, or Oscar
Maybe,
Valdez?
but just going back to Rigondeaux, even if he loses by stoppage, there's the excuse where, like, you can say, oh well, Rigo was just too small. Yeah, and exactly. And people are gonna be dissecting the fight against Lomachenko, going like, yeah, he lost by stoppage, but for the first 4 rounds, 5 rounds, 6 rounds, whatever, he was competitive. Let's bring him down to 126 and see how competitive he is there, because people are gonna be saying, oh well, he did compete against Lomachenko. So I mean, like, Rigondeaux has an out, because this is the excuse where he's smaller and he's moving up to weight division. So he can go back up to 126 and start over again.
That's a good point, man. That's a good point.
Well, that's what I think.
Check your instant message. I sent you a question there.
Oh yeah.
What do you think? Well, hold on. I gotta work on something here. Somebody's asking if they want to come in. But anyway, yeah, answer me back on instant message. But yeah, you're right about that's a very good point. That Rigondeaux, if you look any way you look at it, Rigondeaux, people are gonna look at that his career, and they're gonna say, well, he fought the second best opponent he fought, he lost to, blah blah blah. But hey, Asante asked me that on the chat. He said, if Lomachenko loses, what are people gonna say? Both sides are gonna make up excuses. I can see it now, because that's we've been boxing fans and following boxing on the internet and the internet communities for a good 20 years now, or almost 20 years. people will always come out with excuses. So the excuse for Lomachenko, depending on how he loses, is gonna be, well, you know, he fought a guy that he wasn't supposed to. Or actually, you know what? What excuses could Lomachenko fans make? Because they've been talking about how he's the favorite and the bigger guy. So how? I mean, what could they do, man?
Sorry, I was doing something else.
What, were you jacking off?
No, I'm gonna test the. Sorry, man. I'm gonna test the alert.
Oh, okay, yeah. Go ahead. But yeah, meanwhile, let's see what Gaia has to say. Gaia, you know, there's people out there. Who do you think has more to lose in this fight?
I am ready to talk boxing.
But that doesn't quite answer my question there, Gaia. Maybe you should learn how to listen. Try the data mine on the internet. How to listen to when the host is talking to you. Well, how about that?
Ha 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 ha.
All right, whatever. So yeah, let me see what people are saying in the comment section. My guy live is saying my Google doesn't work. That's a shame. You know, you gotta fix that. In how many hours he asks the match start? Well, it depends on where you live. If you're in the East Coast, it should start in about. Yeah, it still sounds.
It's loud.
Like, yeah, it's too loud, man.
It's too loud.
Yeah, I mean, is it supposed to be loud? You want or?
Okay, I'm gonna lower it.
Oh, we got Ray Guerra. I gotta invite people. Hold on a second. All right, Ray, hold on. We're working on something at the same time right now, so we gotta. We'll invite people. We'll start. You know, if you send us an instant message, we'll start inviting you soon. But for the moment, you gotta give us a couple of seconds here because we still have some kinks to work out, especially with Gaia, who we're trying to get Gaia to automate everything. So we'll see how that happens. Gaia 500, I should say. Nicola Ferrari says Leo Santa Cruz and Frampton targeted money bouts. They are not the only two fighters Rio can face around that weight. Well, that's true, but I'm talking big names because Oscar Valdez is still considered a bit of a prospect of an unknown commodity. Same thing for Joseph Diaz. Scott Quigg would be a good fight. I think Rigondeaux could dance around Scott Quigg, even though Quigg is very dangerous and a hard hitter. Simon Hartley says no one good wants to fight Rigo, well, except Lomachenko. Winning until broken jaw. Rigo has the devil on his side, says Mike Hewitt. The Epic Pasty says, why would where you live change how many hours it starts in? Well, no, because I'm gonna tell the time zone. So if you live in the Pacific, in the West Coast, and I say 10 o'clock, you might think it's gonna start at 10 o'clock for you, and then Mike Hewitt answered the question for me. I don't think BDA got it. Got what? If you're tuning in from Alpha Centauri,
no, because the guy asking how many hours it starts.
Right. Well, listen, it starts in 6 hours, 5:30 now. If you, Mike Hughes says, if you're tuning in from Alpha Centauri, it starts about 17 years time.
Ray says, that 4 light years away or some shit?
I don't know, man. He's being facetious. Ray says, off topic, fucking Yanks got Stanton. The hell does that mean? Hiram Sarati says, no, Valdez is champion. He must be thrown to the wolves to prove himself. I was high on Oscar Valdez, man, but his last 2 fights have made me
He sucks, man.
No, he doesn't suck, but he just...
No, he doesn't suck, but he's not that good, man.
Yeah, I agree, man.
I'm not impressed with him.
He has to work on varying his combinations and tighten up his defense because he just loves to slug. I think he's getting into that Mexican spirit a little too much and he's trying to please the fans. But even then, it's just left hook, right hook, and then he gets dropped. It's nah.
He believes too much in his power and aggression, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
He needs to chill out.
Yeah, man.
The fight is
what? Anyway, let's see what other...
Okay, hold on.
Yeah. Let's see what else people are saying. He's saying, Mike Hewitt says, this may seem paradoxical, but I suspect Rigo may have better stamina. That's a good point. What else are we saying here? Rest in peace, Sana Longhart. Another excuse is that as a pro, Rigo fights dirty really well. Rigo hits him dirty and hurts him. Oh, that's another thing. That's a good fucking point there, Joshua. Rigo does like to hold behind the head, but Lomachenko does too. I think Rigondeaux is a little better though. So it might... I don't know. it might. It's a good thing. It's a good question. Of course, we know that if Rigo loses, his fans are going to say that he was too old, he was too small, he had to go up, he had to concede everything. So there's going to be excuses. But you know what? At the end of the day, all I care about is the fight, the actual fight. And I think we're going to get an interesting one. Go in there. This is my advice to people, if you want it. Go in there with expectations of that it's going to be a good tactical fight. Don't expect a showdown, throwdown, sock'em, rock'em sock'em robots. Don't expect a slugfest. Just expect a nice tactical fight where the intrigue lies in whether one guy can, shut down the other's style and the other guy's weapons, and the exchanges, and of course the drama that ensues about how each guy tries to make the adjustments. So we're gonna take a look at that. All right, I'm gonna invite some of the guys in here, get some new blood pumping to the conversation, ask them questions. So King Bucho, if we could get your prediction a little bit while I invite people, what do you think about the fight? I mean, how do you see this fight playing out?
Well, as I said before, I think Lomachenko is just bigger. He's also, I could say better. I would say he's equally as good as Rigondeaux when it comes to skills.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they have different styles, but I see Lomachenko stopping Rigondeaux, and I believe that even Rigondeaux knows that he really has nothing to lose. He knows that people are going to be saying that he was too small. He was jumping up 2 weight divisions. So, I think Rigo's going to give it his best, and then he's just going to quit.
Oh, you think he's going to quit?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, first of all, we got Hamed on the line. Hamed, how are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. How's it going?
It's going great, man. We got a fight tonight. One of the best, I think, in recent years, in terms of, on paper at least, in terms of the matchup and the quality. Curious to get your thoughts on the fight.
Yeah, I think I think I
you
called
sound
in last
undecided,
week.
man.
What's it? I called in last week on Steve Kim's show, and I was seeing Lomachenko by knockout.
Oh,
I'm not too sure now. I'm not too sure if it'll end in a knockout. I still think Lomachenko will win, but the odds, in my opinion, have when I've seen the weigh-in, something came to my mind. I think the first couple of rounds should get a feel of what type of fight it is. I'll say one thing: if Rigo could catch him and make Lomachenko miss, which I don't think he will be, I think Rigo will win. But I think Lomachenko is too big for him, and he's too quick, too fast, too young. I think the only thing I'd be concerned if Lomachenko tries looking for the KO, if he just boxes like he done with Walters, I got Lomachenko probably winning a wide decision or on maybe late knockout, around 10, 11, something like that.
That's interesting, man. A late knockout. I think King Butcher agrees with you on that one. We got also Ray on the line and Ivan. Ivan, is this the first time you're joining us, by the way?
Oh, let me turn. First time. I really like you're serious about the Lomachenko-Rigondeaux.
Thanks, man.
So good.
Thanks, man. Thanks. And we also got Ray returning this week. Ray, how are you, man?
Good.
Fantastic. All right. So, Hamed, I just want to continue with what you said. So you expect Lomachenko by a late round stoppage, but do you think that has to do more with Rigondeaux's age, or do you think that Lomachenko is that good?
I think Lomachenko is really that good. I'll say this: if Rigondeaux wins, I think he is the pound for pound best. I mean, this is a really big step up, and if he wins conclusively, I'd have to say Rigondeaux is the best fighter. If, on the other hand, if Lomachenko wins, I'll also say Lomachenko is the best fighter. If we get a clear winner, I'd say the winner of this fight should be number one. I mean, people will argue that Rigondeaux hasn't fought anyone recently, but I mean, I don't know whose fault that was, if it's his teams or if people were avoiding him. But The reason I think Lomachenko should win this fight, I think he's just too young. He's been too active. I think Rigondeaux's inactivity and the weight and the size will probably be his downplay. I think if Rigondeaux does well and puts up a good fight and Safe is very competitive, I think Rigondeaux might come away with some sort of respect. But yeah, I think Lomachenko should win this fight.
I think the problem with Rigo's inactivity is the Lomachenko's work rate and the pace he has. Like, I wonder how he's gonna cope with that.
You mean Rigondeaux, right? You're talking about Rigondeaux, how he's
adjust his speed a lot.
Well, he has a crazy cardio. I mean, he kind of like tried to keep the same pace all throughout the fight. Even on the round 12, he's looking like.
Yeah, you know what? I've never seen Rigondeaux really tired in any fight, but then again, that's because he almost never gets pushed. Ray, your thoughts on the fight, man? I mean, how do you see this one going down?
Yeah, I agree with. I'm sorry, I forget his name, but the first guy you said pretty much exactly. I think the age is a huge thing, but I think one thing also you got to consider is it's southpaw versus southpaw.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know the last time Loma fought a southpaw. I can't think off my head, but you know, he won't maybe not be able to do all his flashy, fancy footwork. May not be as pronounced as it normally is.
Yeah, because as people have said, he likes to move to his right side, but if he's doing that against the southpaw, he'd be moving into the left side. So, I mean, I still think we're going to see excellent footwork from both guys, but obviously it's not going to be as pretty as when they're usually fighting right-handers. Another question is that people in the chat room have been talking about what are the excuses that both camps are going to come in here. I mean, what do you guys think? Well, what are some of the excuses we could hear if Lomachenko loses?
He shouldn't have any excuses. Honestly, he's got every advantage that you could possibly think of. He's younger. He's got the weight advantage. He's I don't know if he's fought in New York before, but I mean, you can't really argue about home turf. But Loma's got most of the I think advantages that a fighter could want.
A little bit fight.
And shouldn't be talking about excuses now. Should let the fight play out. And really shouldn't. Lomachenko shouldn't have any excuses. I say one thing. I saw Lomachenko Mariaga, just rewatched it a couple of hours ago on my phone. I'd say Lomachenko's probably reflexes and footwork are probably the best I've seen since Pacquiao was in his prime. So I'm not too sure how Rigo will make him miss. And because if he's on Rigo for non-stop for 3 minutes around, I think Rigo could get overwhelmed with activity and power. And another thing is Rigo, I don't know how people could say Rigo will knock him out, because the only shot I see Rigo has is the straight left. And I've never seen him knock anyone out with his right hand or his uppercut.
That's a good point. I don't expect any one shot to end the fight for Rigondeaux or for Lomachenko for that matter. But I don't know, that's the interesting thing is that people have been saying that Rigondeaux is actually the one with better one-punch power than Lomachenko. You agree with that, Ray?
122.
He broke that dude's jaw with one hit.
But is that more due to precision or is that due to actual punching power?
It's power. I mean, he completely loads up when he punches, but he doesn't punch unless he's like completely sure that he's gonna, land. I don't think Loma can one punch him, but I think you can definitely get some small flash off balance knockdowns on him.
Guys, comment
but
on
I
that.
I think another thing is that was to do with the opponent he was fighting. I don't think that opponent is really that good. Another thing is I think Rigo might have the more one-punch power. He has shown it against, I think, Donay. He did catch him with big shots, like one-punch shots, but he didn't really hurt him. But I think Donay was much bigger. But another thing is Rigo's also quite suspect to... He's been dropped by one shot. I think by one shot by... Well, Donay, I think, caught him with just a single left hook. So he can get put down as well. He is vulnerable from just single shots. And Lomachenko doesn't really throw single shots. He's a guy who throws double, triple shots at you. So I think Rigo has to be careful, and he probably will be careful. So
Oh yeah, he's
I
gonna be
think
careful.
that one shot power could be also something that might be his disadvantage.
Do you
Well,
guys?
yeah, go ahead.
One question for you guys. A lot of people say that Mariaga a lot, but fight was Walters and Russell when he had like better opponents. He wasn't like fighting as reckless as like Mariaga and Sosa. So is that part of how Mariaga fought, or like just Loma opponent?
Man, I think it's a styles matchup. It's when he was fighting, Mariaga has good boxing skills, but Lomachenko was able to pressure him and cut the ring off against him and fight like a pressure fighter. Against Jason Sosa, Jason Sosa was a little too slow for Lomachenko and allowed him to get all around him and surround him with those angles. You didn't see really, like you said, you didn't see Lomachenko do that against Gary Russell Jr., and that was because of Russell's speed and his footwork. And Rigondeaux has much better footwork and a much better ability to control a fight's pace than Gary Russell Jr. So I don't expect. Listen, I'd be very surprised if Lomachenko can look the way he looked against Mariaga. If he can do that against Rigondeaux, I'd be very surprised. I would be very surprised.
But I'd say one thing about that. That fight was Lomachenko's third fight, and he looked really good against Russell, who probably is the best featherweight, I think, at the moment. Arguably the best featherweight. Well, it's probably between him and Santa Cruz. I'm not too sure if Selby is probably better than any of those guys, but since that fight, he's a complete different fighter. I think if he fights Russell now, he probably knocks Russell out, and he had Russell out on his feet. The only thing I'd say about Rigo is since 2013, he hasn't really been tested, so we don't really know how much he's got left at that, at the level. Like since Donet, I think that fight was in like 2013, which was a really good performance and a win. But he hasn't really done anything, I think, since that fight.
That's a good point. The inactivity, and I've been saying that during the podcast and in the comments, that the thing that worries me isn't the size disadvantage, it's not the ages, it's really the inactivity, because no matter how good you are, look, we saw what happened to Cotto last week. He pulled a bicep, he tore it during the fight. Now, you could say that that's because it's one of those freak things that happens during a fight, but I actually think it's the fact that he fought 2 fights in the span of about 4 months, and considering that he hadn't fought since 2015 at that point. So packing those tough fights in there at his age, it wasn't a smart thing. And with Rigondeaux, he's gonna have to fight at 100%. He's gonna have to push his body against Lomachenko, who is just as good as he is, if not better. So that inactivity, man, that worries me. Cameron Gillon.
Yeah, Gamboa looked awful against Castellanos when he didn't fight in so long, and then he came out and quit pretty much on the stool. But I mean, Rigondeaux is better, but it's huge.
That's the thing, man.
More than the size.
Both guys are the best they've ever fought. There's no doubt about that, man. It's who knows how it's gonna go down, really.
It'll be interesting.
Now the thing is this: who do you think is gonna start out better?
That's
I think
interesting.
probably Rigo.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a chess match, so Rigo might win the first round, but I'm not too sure. I think Lomachenko might give up the first round. I think he said he's done that in the past, because when I watched the Mariaga fight, which was his most recent, 'cause I just wanted to see how he looked in that fight, which when I was watching live, I didn't think it was his best performance, because I think he was just toying with him. I think when he found out, like, Mariaga had no threat, but I think even in that fight, in the first round, I think he kind of was looking at what Mariaga had in the first couple of minutes, but he kind of jumped on him. But I think Rigo might start a bit better, but I think the main thing in this fight will be who ends up the better fighter. I think that's where the fight will be probably won and lost.
Interesting point. And that's the thing, man. You keep going back to the Mariaga fight because really Lomachenko looked about as good as he's ever looked against anybody. But now the question is, against Mariaga, he did appear bigger, and Mariaga looked like he was a freaking featherweight, even junior featherweight, and Lomachenko looked like a decent sized junior welterweight.
But I feel like Rigo
Yeah.
He will show more respect to.
Ivan, you're cutting up. You're cutting up, man. You're cutting up real bad. We can't understand what you're saying.
Mariaga, because like he.
All right. Ivan, you're cutting up. You're cutting up real bad there. We can't hear what you're saying.
His skill set.
I see.
Can you hear me now?
Well, speak continuously because it's cutting off. You're cutting off. You sound like a robot, man.
Maybe. So he didn't really respect Mariaga. I don't think he's gonna show the same thing against Rigo.
Yeah. Well, okay. Now I almost heard what you said, but you still cut off a little bit. I think you gotta fix that internet connection there, or I don't know. Take care of those issues, and we'll get back to you, man, because I want to hear what you have to say. Meanwhile, I want to welcome. Okay. All right. Meanwhile, I want to welcome Cameron on the line. Cameron, how are you, man?
How you guys doing?
Perfect, man. Curious to get your thoughts on tonight's fight.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. A lot of people I've seen have been talking about this being. A lot of people I know who I respect in the sport think it's a mismatch. I don't think it is. Wins, but I don't think it's going to be as one-sided as people think. I think, Rigondeaux's going to have his moments of success. When he's been fighting guys, Walters, Sosa, they're so stationary and so basic offensively, and they've got no defense. Where he's been able to sidestep, he's been able to step over the lead foot and maneuver around in these sort of semicircles. Because Rigondeaux's not stationary, he's fast. So when Lomachenko's in range, speed and counter is really going to be. And I don't think.
You can't say it's loud.
I can't say it's loud. I couldn't hear. It completely interrupted Cameron. What Cameron was saying.
Okay. Yeah, Rigondeaux's gonna have his moments. I feel like it's gonna be a good fight. I feel like Lomachenko's volume and the pace. And I'd stop him late. I don't think Rigondeaux will quit. We'll stop him but I feel like Rigondeaux will be competitive. I just think Lomachenko will be too much for him in the end. Like I heard you say, BDA, I think the inactivity will play a part. I do feel Rigondeaux can compete how he fights at a new weight. But I just feel like Lomachenko will just prevail. I think he'll have too much for him in the end.
Yeah, man. I think that you're with the general consensus there that most people expect Lomachenko to just stop him. And that inactivity, listen, if Rigondeaux comes in prepared, in shape, and 100%, it's a close fight, man. It's a very close fight, and I don't expect a mismatch unless Rigondeaux is really just completely physically finished. Ivan, have you been able to fix your issues there? Let's do a little test here. Ivan,
can you hear?
Yeah, just say, just talk non-stop and see how it sounds.
No.
Lomachenko's gonna win. Da, 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 da.
Da, 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 da. Yeah, you're still cutting off, man.
Oh, I was saying earlier, he didn't really respect Mariaga. It felt like I don't think he's.
No, boy, you're cutting off. You're cutting off real bad, man.
I can hear him though.
You can hear everything he's saying.
Well, kinda. I don't know what everybody else.
Let's see.
He's cut it off.
He's cutting off, yeah. King Butcher's drunk.
Sorry, guys. Let me let me restart. I'll try.
Yeah, go ahead. Try and start the whole thing again. Let's see. Well, let's see. Meanwhile, let's see what Gaia has to say about all this. What do you think? Internet connections, Gaia. How do we fix this internet connection?
Hitler did nothing wrong.
All right, we're still working on the glitches. Obviously, Gaia is not answering my questions.
Can I say something? One second.
Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of people are making out of Rigo's win over Dene, which was a good win. Obviously, I've said like a lot of people about the inactivity is 4 years ago. But Rigo did beat Donet, but I think Donet was kind of overrated. I don't think he's anywhere in the near the level of Lomachenko. And if you remember, I think a year after, I think it was 1.5 years after, Donet fought Walters, and Walters done a pretty good number on him. I think Donet did drop him. I think obviously Walters is much bigger than Rigo, but Walters knocked him out quite badly, and Rigo couldn't really put a dent in Donet. He didn't drop him or anything. And Lomachenko done a pretty good number on Walters. Now, I know obviously styles make fights and it's completely different, but Donet did manage to still drop Rigo, and that was one of Donet's worst performances. He was at his absolute worst, and obviously Rigo's at his best. It's a bit of both. But I mean, I don't think anyone has noticed stuff like that. Walters, what he done to Donet as well. And Donet, I don't think he was as good as people thought before that fight as well.
Well, I'll just say something on that. But Walters was far too big for Donet. That's why he knocked him out. It looked so bad against Rigondeaux because that was power on exchange with him. That's why Rigondeaux. That's why Donet didn't. That's why Donet he dropped Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux then influenced his power. Donet felt his power, and it just completely shut Donet out. Rigondeaux could punch. His power is underrated. If you've seen it, all the fighters he's faced, as soon as they felt sort of the overhand left that he throws, they've just been shut out. A power Rigondeaux. Whether or not that transcends into the fight tonight, I don't know, but it's more like it's crisp in his precision and of his punches. It just stuns.
Yeah. That's true, I agree, but the other part, I don't know if that's really true. Donet was quite small when he started off, but Walters was much bigger than Lomachenko as well, and Lomachenko managed to outclass him. Obviously, it's a different fight, but I don't know if that was just to do with size. I think Donet wasn't as good as I think a lot of people perceived him to be as. People are saying he's the next Pacquiao or he's going to be the next pound for pound #1. I just think he was overrated. I don't think Donet was as good as many, including myself, probably thought he was meant to be.
I think Donet was more he was stronger and more sharp at below 122. After that, he lost his power or something.
I don't know, because he did hurt Walters, to be fair. He did rock Walters.
Yeah, but that was the only time I think we saw him like that. After that, I don't know. He hasn't impressed me at 122 and above. At 126 even less. And his body looks different. It's plain, It's not it's not definition.
Donet walks around in the 140s for a lot of time. He making flyweight, bantamweight.
But so that doesn't mean anything. I mean, that doesn't mean he's in shape though.
No, but
Ricky Hatton moved up 180 or some shit.
No, that's why he was so dominant at those lower weights. That's what I'm saying. He cut a lot of weight. He was so much.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I agree with you. Yeah, he was just too big for those weights, and he had the height advantage, and it was just all in his favor, in my opinion.
Yeah, when you come up against opponents, sort of, his size, you come unstuck.
Exactly. So, I mean, I give credit to Rigondeaux for that win, obviously, but that's pretty much it. I mean, after that fight, Rigondeaux didn't go anywhere else. He just went down. He didn't go up. He went down. All right, let's see what the comments say. BDA will be right back, apparently.
Well, can I see and jump in? What are the thoughts on the other card? Because there's another card on HBO as well.
Yeah, Salido.
That's a good card, I think. Overall, as a triple header, that's a pretty good card.
Good fights on the undercard. Denis Shavakov is making his super featherweight debut. So that should be interesting.
I don't know if they'll even show that one. There's 3 fights over that: Vargas, Salido, and Tevin Farmer.
That's the fight before the title fights, so
I'm definitely.
They might do.
I'm more excited to see Tevin Farmer fight than the Roman versus Salido fight. Tevin Farmer is fighting some tough Japanese guy there, or Asian, I forget which one.
Yeah, Okawa.
Yeah, and they're talking about.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, a lot of people that I speak to think Farmer's going to get beat.
What?
Akar was good. Akar was a good fighter.
What's this guy's? Let me check his record.
He's rangy. He's not going to be just a walk. If Tevin Farmer walks through Akar, right, it'll be very impressive. Because he's a good opponent.
Yeah, we don't know how hard Tevin Farmer can hit. We know he's a good boxer, southpaw, slick. But if he's fighting a puncher, can he get himself some respect against such a tough guy, man? I don't know.
They're talking about, if he wins the title, they're talking about inverse Gervonta Davis, aren't they?
Yeah, Gervonta Davis did not look good on that Mayweather-McGregor undercard. I mean, I don't...
No. I think he's overrated, personally.
Well, overrated by who, though? By Mayweather's own team, you know? They're calling him the next Mayweather? Come on.
That's what I'm saying. I think that... I mean, obviously, they're doing their job. They're promoting him, but... their next big star. No, I think Badou Jack's Mayweather's big best fighter.
He's not even... First, he has to live up to being the next Adrian Broner. And if he does that, then we can talk about him being the next Mayweather. But
he's already doing that, isn't he? He's already doing that. He's already got in trouble.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. He's getting into some kind of trouble there, man. It's... I mean, I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think the winner of Lomachenko-Rigondeaux... assuming is Lomachenko should fight Gervonta Davis, or do you think they should go after? Should Lomachenko go after the Salido? Is it Roman winner of that fight?
No, he got to lightweight. There's nobody at super featherweight who can give him a competitive fight, in my opinion.
No, but a lot of people will want to see him avenge that loss to.
Oh yeah, I can understand that.
Salido, even though he'll beat Gervonta Davis, and I don't think Gervonta Davis is ready, I think that might be the best fight available if he stays at super featherweight.
Yeah, the thing is, there's no chance Mayweather's going to put Davis in with Lomachenko.
Yeah, that's true. I think if they both move up to lightweight, it might be more likely it happens at lightweight down the line.
Well, I'm curious to get Gaia 500's thoughts on a potential Lomachenko-Salido fight, provided they both win tonight, of course.
I have no time for that.
Okay, Gaia doesn't like that fight, but you know what? Depends on. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how Salido looks, right? Because he's fighting a tough guy, but Roman already got stopped by Miura, so I mean, I'm not saying getting stopped by Miura means you suck, but I don't know. It depends on how Salido looks, right?
Nicholas Walters needs to get back in the mix of these guys. I think Walters, fair enough, he lost to Lomachenko, but I still think he's a handful for anybody else at super featherweight.
Oh yeah, I would agree, man. But psychologically, the question is he there psychologically?
Well, he wanted 4 fights this year and he hasn't even had one. I mean, fair enough, he was going to fight on the Crawford undercard in August.
I mean,
I've asked Top Rank. I've contacted Top Rank so many times over the last few months to try and get an update on Walters, and they just gave me no comment. I don't know what's going on there.
Maybe they don't want to give him fights.
Maybe. I mean, he spoke about that, didn't he? He had a bit of conflict about him, didn't he, before that Lomachenko fight? So.
Exactly, yeah. But you're right,
I think
man.
Walters might have some issues mentally, because the way he... I don't like using the word quit, but the way he just... if you compare Sosa was fighting, showed a lot of heart, and Sosa was taking a much more beating down the stretch. I thought Walters just quit way too early in that fight.
Well, Hamed, you don't want to use the word quit. Was that?
Yeah, even though I think he would have lost, it wouldn't have made much difference. I still think he shouldn't have done that.
But you're saying you shouldn't say the word. You said, I shouldn't use the word quit. Now you should, because he did quit, man. He admitted he was hurt. He was getting embarrassed in there. He was being made look like an amateur. So he quit, man. He quit.
Yeah, you know, in that instance, yeah. But some people, I think, use it. I like with Brook. I think I'm 50-50 in that situation, but a lot of people overuse the word quit. Like I've seen some people overuse it. Like in certain fights, I don't think you could use it. Like if someone's vision is affected for the rest of their life or their career and is ruined their career, like the whole thing with McClellan, I think, like some people are even calling McClellan a quitter. So
what?
I think we just gotta You just gotta be a bit careful with that situation. But yeah, Walters definitely, I think he quit. You could use it in the right term, but what I meant was I just don't like using the word quit. Like
no, wait. Let's go back. I want to go back. Like, where did you see somebody calling McLennan a quitter?
If you watch the fight, I think listen to the commentary. I think they said in the commentary and after
Barry
the fight.
Barry McGuigan.
No, Jim Watt. Jim Watt.
That's it, Jim Watt.
Oh, okay, but not after. I mean, nobody's ever said that after knowing that he received irreparable damage from.
I think Don King said it as well, but I don't think they were aware of what was going on. But like I said, like some. Yeah, I think some people jump onto it quick. Like if there's a reason given, then maybe you shouldn't. Like, but some people actually I've still read online. They still they give McLennan a lot of hard time for that fight. Like saying he's gonna chin and that, but I mean, I don't think you could say stuff about someone's chin if stuff like that is quite serious. So.
No, yeah, I agree, man. The people that love to call boxers quitters. I mean, it's
fucking quiz.
I mean, no, really, these people need to learn some respect. But then again, you think about it. We've seen guys that quit and mentally they never return. Then again, you have all-time greats. They are able to surpass that. For example, Roberto Duran, or you can even go back to Vitaly Klitschko and Israel Vasquez. They quit during fights because of irreparable damage, and then they came back and not only in Vasquez's case he avenged his loss, but actually became some of the best in the division. So quitting is not the stigma that it used to be, but at the moment when you do it right after, it's hell for fighters, man. Yeah, somebody wanted to jump in?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, I think you could use it. It depends on how the fight. Like the way Duran quit, I think you could use it then. I think the way Walters just kind of gave up and quit, you could use it. I don't normally. I like to not use that word. Only in instances when it's really obvious, like when someone's really hurt or damaged, then I don't really like using the word quit, because I think David Hay got a lot of stick for, I don't know what fight it was, the Carl Thompson fight or something, and some people I think I think his corner pulled him up, but like some people just once someone gives up or they just brand the fighter a quitter for the rest of their career. I think that's a bit over the top.
Mm-hmm.
I think as long as they don't keep doing it. I think Victor Ortiz maybe was a guy that I think Dunian is known to be people call him a quitter, but I think his jaw got broken in one of the fights. So I don't know. That's why I don't really like using the word quit. That much.
No, I get it.
He got his jaw broke twice, didn't he? Lopez and Collazo.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did you say? I didn't hear the first part. Cameron, I didn't hear the first part of what you said about Collazo.
No, I was just saying that Ortiz got his jaw broke by both Collazo and Josecita Lopez.
Oh, yes.
I was going to say, Hamid, do you think O'Hara Davis quit against Josh Taylor?
Yeah. You could use it in that instance. You could use it, but I've just seen fights. I was more referring to fights in America, and I can't remember on the back of my head, but there's a couple of fights I thought that was a bit unfortunate to use it. With Brook, I think it's 50-50. You can say the word because he's done it more than once, even though I don't think it was his fault. With the Golovkin fight, I thought that was right.
He didn't quit. They threw in the towel.
Yeah, he didn't quit. So that was the right decision, maybe. But in the Spence fight, I think he was already damaged. So I'm not too sure if that would have made a difference. But I understand why people are saying in that fight, because he kind of took the knee and he kind of he gave up in that fight. But I was just using it in other instances, like the Ortiz situation. I think if someone's got a permanent injury, same with Brook as well. So I'm in the middle with Brook. I'm not too sure which would have been the right decision, because if he carried on, I don't think he would have won that fight. So I'm not too sure if that might have been the right decision at that time.
Yeah, I don't think you can call Brook a quitter. You know, it's not fair to put him in the same category as the Durrells. No, those guys are fucking quitters.
Yep. Who did Durrell quit? Oh, was it?
Both of their last fights, they both quit basically.
Abraham, against Abraham.
They both faked injuries.
No, not Abraham. Was it Utskatska? He was Andre Durrell.
Yeah,
But
he
I guess
faked being
Abraham
hurt
too.
with a knockout, and sold it just like his other brother did in the last fight a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, whichever it was. They act like they're hurt and they can't continue. They're quitters. They got no heart.
But don't forget that Durrell quit against Abraham too. I mean, I know he was hit when he was down, but the way he acted afterwards, like he was shaking on the ground as if he was suffering an epileptic fit. And then afterward, he did a good job of pretending that he had been knocked out, because he was asking his corner what happened, and then he was crying afterwards. But he got hit.
No, I don't.
Better actors than boxers.
I don't think the Abraham fight was. The other two, maybe. I've seen the other two. The Abraham fight, I thought that was a bit legitimate. I've seen a lot of people say he was overreacting, but I think he was injured for a while after that fight. The Abraham fight, I think, if you see an angle, he did take a big shot and he was on his knees. So I think that fight, maybe, I don't think you could put down him. The other two, maybe, yeah, that's right. I think recently they did kind of see a way out, but the one against Abraham, I think that was a good decision. That should have been a DQ.
Obviously, you need a history lesson.
No, man, check the fight. Check the fight again, man, because this is what I saw. I saw Durrell getting hit, and then he looked at the ref, he was conscious, and then all of a sudden, he goes down and he starts acting. I mean, if you get hit with a shot and it really affects you, you go down immediately. The way he looked, because remember, you gotta remember the context also. He was getting tired. He was slipping all the time. He knew the pace was on against Abraham, and he said, "You know what? I've been winning more rounds. Worst case scenario, I milk this for everything it's worth." And now you mentioned the medical issues. There was never any paper evidence or any of that sort of thing that proved that he did suffer some irreparable damage or some sort of damage. I think it was just an acting job from Durrell, and the fact that he's done it a second time just leads me to believe that he's the type of guy that when the going gets tough, he's gonna look for a way out. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I think what you may be saying, he might have exaggerated it. Maybe that was. I think a lot of people did say that the first time against Abraham. That might be true, but I don't think it was like some people are saying he completely milked it. I think he did take a shot, and I think he was out. I think maybe he might have overreacted or something like that, but I'm not too sure. Because if he didn't see the shot coming and he has been knocked out, then I think he might have taken the flush shot. But I'm not too sure if he completely milked it. If he was just faking and he's just rolling around on the floor. I think that one might have been legitimate. He might have been knocked out.
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure about what you said was a good point about the medical. If there's no history, then I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, who knows, man? Listen, at the end of the day, we'll never really know, because it's he felt the punch. I defer to the fighter himself. If he feels like he can continue, you gotta give him that right. It's not, you can't push him back into the ring and say, "No, motherfucker, you gotta keep fighting." So, I mean, we'll see what happens there. Precise Puncher says, and it's a good point, he says, "Not all quitters are created equal. Brook quitting was understandable and justified. Durrell? No. Durrell threw at Abraham when he was down too." See, that's the thing. It depends on the context too, right? I mean, Brook, definitely, I think he should have quit or retired, if you want to use that word, because his eye was getting bad, man. I mean, he should have. And for example, Margarito against Pacquiao, his corner should have pulled him out, but this guy was nuts and he didn't want to pull it. So you see how it all depends, man. It depends on the constitution of the fighter's mentality and on the context and on the situation that's happening.
I also think Cotto. I thought Cotto against Margarito kind of. I think some people are saying he quit. I think Margarito, on the other hand, I think that might have been the right decision, because Cotto's career could have been all over. But Margarito, on the other hand, I think went on too long against Pacquiao. I agree, that should have been stopped way earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, what I'll say is, I don't mind. For example, Brook. I mean, I mean, if you're losing a fight, or the fight's only going to go one way, whereas like the Golovkin fight did, he didn't quit, he got pulled out. Golovkin was going to badly hurt Brook if that fight carried on. I think, you know, if you're going to take yourself out of a fight that it's only going to go one way, what's the point? You know, get yourself out of there, because otherwise, you know, you're really going to waste the rest of your career trying to win a fight that you've got no chance of winning, which is like Brook Spence. Spence was only going to win that fight in the end. Brook living the fight on another day. I don't class that as quitting personally.
That's
what about let me ask a question. What about the Vitaly Klitschko Lennox Lewis fight? That was quite controversial. A lot of people thought
he was going to win that fight.
Yeah, he thought they're going to win that. He was going to win that fight. But if you look at that cut, that was one of the worst cuts I've seen.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. That's one of those fights. Obviously, there should have been a rematch, but obviously Lewis retired. But yeah, that was one of those things, really.
Well, now, considering the extent of the cut, in that particular case, Vitaly didn't want to quit, but he should. That fight was a correct stoppage. Even though, actually, I'll tell you this: when I was watching the fight, I remember we were watching it live, and I said, "Nah, don't stop the fight." It was a great fight, and the fact that they stopped it, you know, I was disappointed. But then, you're looking back at it, you go, "No, yeah, that fight should have been stopped. That eye was messed up. It looked like somebody had cut it with a machete or something." All right, Hamed, you gotta go, man. What the hell? Hamed? Okay, well, Hamed says he's gotta go.
I'll see you. I'll try and. When's the next one you're gonna do? Is it next week?
Bucho and I have been trying to do a podcast during the week, but every time something comes up, and we're unable to do any type of podcast during the week. So definitely next week, Saturday at the minimum. But,
all right, I'll catch you guys soon then. All right.
All right, thanks for being here, man. Enjoy the fight.
No worries.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, man. So what was it? Oh yeah, and the other thing regarding quitting. Quitting also, there's various ways to quit for a fighter. It doesn't always have to do with the fighter telling the referee or his corner. Sometimes they'll do it indirectly, like the way they look at like for example, when Lemieux got stopped by Golovkin, he stumbled and then he looked at the ref. And the ref said, "Okay, what are you looking at me for? You're staggering. That means you want me to stop the fight." And then, of course, Lemieux afterward has plausible deniability. He can say, "No, I didn't want this fight to be stopped." Or when a fighter tells his corner, "Listen, he doesn't answer back to the questions that are being asked by his trainer." And then the trainer goes, "You want me to stop the fight?" And the fighter doesn't respond. That's his way of saying, "Listen, I want to save face. I don't want to say that I want to quit. So just go ahead and pull me out." So then when they pull him out, the fighter says, no, then they start complaining. But, sometimes fighters know they can't win a fight. Then, like I said, lunatics like Margarito, who thinks all he has to do is land one shot, even though he's been beaten up like a redheaded stepchild. But he still thinks, no, if I land one shot, everything's going to be fine. Some fighters are too tough for their own good. Other fighters understand the reality of their situation and they pull out. And then you have other fighters that really don't care about what people think and about their careers or about their legacy, and they just want a way out. So it all depends. Yeah, go ahead, Cameron.
No, I've got Mariaga text us to get his prediction for tonight. I'm going to see if he texts me back.
Oh, he hasn't texted you back?
No, yeah, well, I've been talking to him through the day, so I'm trying to obviously sort out an interview. I'm just asking what his prediction is, so I'm just waiting for him to text me back.
What did Gary Russell? I think I didn't watch the video, but I think he made a prediction, right?
Yeah, he thinks Rigondeaux's going to win. I think obviously he would say that, wouldn't he? Because obviously he wants the Lomachenko rematch, but yeah, I think he's picking Rigondeaux to win.
My goodness, I love to hear why he thinks that.
He just does something against Lomachenko. He wants that rematch, doesn't he? So.
Right. Now, here's the thing. Have you ever spoken to Rigondeaux or his team?
Yeah, I have. I've interviewed him, yeah.
Now, what's your... I know you got to stay neutral with all this, but, if you were to talk... If you were to hang out with him for a day in person, a whole day, do you get the impression talking to him that he's the type of guy that you wouldn't like?
Is he the type of guy that I would like to hang out with?
No. Is he the type of guy? Does he give you the impression that he's not a very warm personality?
Well, he always has the same sort of emotionless facial expression, doesn't he? Like you rarely see him smile. He's like a statue, isn't he? Like he's just got the same face in him all the time. But the thing is, he's actually a nice guy when when he's not really talking about the sport.
Right.
I think because he doesn't really say much in terms of himself and that. I think it's he's a hard character to judge, but I think he's all right. I mean, would I, somebody said to me, would you want to spend a day going out with him? Probably not, because he's just so hard to judge. Who knows what he'd want to do?
Rigondeaux, like you said, he has the deadpan expression. He reminds me of that guy in Scarface, the guy with the sunglasses, the hitman at the end who shoots Tony Montana. That's what he reminds me of. Like he's almost, when he looks at you, it's almost as if he's thinking about the ways that he could kill you without getting caught. I mean, I don't know. He seems like a very cold, calculated guy, which is probably why he's such a great fighter.
Mariagas just replied to me, but it's in Spanish, so I'm trying to work out what the hell he's trying to say.
Well, can you read it out loud? Maybe I can translate that.
Habla que todo bien.
Okay, he's saying everything's all right.
That's all he said.
Now wait, what? Repeat that, please.
Let me try it now. He went. He said to talk.
He said to talk.
He said, "Yeah, everything's fine. Talk."
Oh, okay. He's saying he wants to. Yeah, he hasn't given the prediction yet. This guy's just he's stringing you along, man. He wants to. He's probably a lonely guy. He wants to talk with somebody. He wants to be friends with you. By the way,
yeah, I'm all good with that.
Didn't Rigondeaux say that he wants to break Lomachenko's face or something like that?
Yeah, he wants to break his face. He wants to beat his ass.
What is it with these Cuban fighters? They're always saying the same. Like when Erislandy Lara was about to fight Canelo, he also said, "I want to break his face." What is it about Cuban fighters and wanting to break faces?
I know, it's the same as Ortiz. I think he said that about Wilder as well at one point.
That's interesting. Break his face. I mean, is that what they do over in Cuba, for breaking faces? By the way, Hamed already left. I thought he was...
What about Wilder? I mean, Wilder said he wanted to put Stavern in a body bag, didn't he? Or something like that.
Well, he's the Axeman. He has to be putting people in body bags, right?
No, Wilder to Stavern. He said that, didn't he?
Oh, Wilder. Oh, yeah. What happened? First of all, Ortiz fought last night, right?
Ortiz fought a fucking bum.
Well, Daniel Martz, did you see the left? Did you see the jab that Ortiz walked him onto? I've never seen such.
He's lunging in, his hands are low, and then he gets caught. Like basic boxing stuff, man. And now everybody's freaking out on Ortiz and shit. Get the fuck out of here.
A tortoise could have threw a jab quicker than that. That's how slow that was last night. And Ortiz just counted him with a left hand. I mean, he could have minutes before that jab landed. It was so poor. I mean, everybody was saying before this fight, and I'm going to go in a bit on Ortiz because it's doing my head in. People before this fight were saying, oh, he needs to get the cobwebs off, he's been out for a year. Well, you find someone who's actually going to give you an actual fight. Coming out like that in what, 2 rounds? That's not getting the cobwebs off. That's not getting rid of the rust. And Ortiz, for me, really, I said this on Twitter. I said I think Wilder could be catching Ortiz at the right time because Ortiz he's getting old, or he is old.
Mm-hmm.
He spent the last year fighting Daniel Martz and Dave Allen, and he's supposed to be a world level heavyweight, and he's wasted a year fighting them guys. And I think Wilder sees something in him. Floyd and Deontay Wilder, for me, if he gets a win over Ortiz, he's going to get the credit that probably any other heavyweight won't get.
Wilder probably got scared looking at that knockout.
You think Wilder got scared looking at the knockout?
No, I'm saying Wilder probably got scared watching that Ortiz fight. I'm not even joking. I'm pretty sure he got scared, and he's like, "Oh shit, why should I fight Ortiz now and probably lose a payday against Joshua?"
Yeah, Wilder ain't never fought a puncher.
Would you be scared of? I mean, let's be fair. Would you be scared of Ortiz knocking out? I'm gonna say journeyman because I don't like to say anything else. Would you be scared of that? What you saw last night?
If I'm Wilder, yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, but Deontay Wilder, he would have knocked that guy out in a round.
Yeah, but that Ortiz fight came together like overnight, literally.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about that fight like a week ago, and then it just happened. So I mean, it was some bum they literally picked up off the street. The guy just needed to get I don't know. I guess he just wanted to fight.
Luis Ortiz is so lethargic, like he's so slow. He plods around the ring.
The guy's probably 40-something.
I don't see what the hype's about, to be honest with you.
I think he's older than 37 or 38, whatever he is.
Well, he's just like Wilder. He's got that one punch, and it'll put anybody down.
Yeah, he looked good against. He looked good against Brian Jennings a couple of years ago, but then again, that was a couple of years ago, and he hasn't looked as impressive since then. No, what was it? When did he fight Brian Jennings? That was in 2016, or it was like a year.
15.
Yeah, it was. No, yeah, it's 15. He put Tony Thompson in 16.
Oh, okay, yeah. We'll see there. I mean, Ray said that in the chat. He says Ortiz versus Big Baby Miller, too slow as fighters. I think Ortiz has just corroded into a slow fighter now at his age and with his weight. Or he might end up being like a George Foreman type, where even if he's slow, he can still whack pretty decently. And but like you said, man, that if Wilder fights him, he's taking him at the right time. I don't. King Butcher is saying that Wilder might have been scared watching it, but that might have to do with the fact that Wilder is insecure. But I saw that, watching that fight, I thought that Wilder it's the perfect time now for him to fight Ortiz. It's the perfect time.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not going to fight Dylan White, and he's not going to fight Ortiz, he's got nobody to fight. Joshua's, if he keeps saying 50-50, there's no way they're going to pay him 50-50, and he's just going to price himself out of the fight. So, I mean, who else has he got a chance to fight? There's nobody.
Yeah, they're talking about Joseph Parker or maybe some other guy, but
well, Parker's gonna fight Joshua. That's what's gonna happen.
But you think is that all set up, or is that it's looking like that way? You're saying
they've been saying they're real close, but I think that's 10 times closer than Wilder getting made.
Yeah, that fight is definitely gonna happen, I think.
Oh boy, well it's a pretty decent contest, considering the way Carlos Takam did against Joshua. If you want to go that way, it might seem as if Parker might be able to go the 12 rounds, but then again, Takam was slick, and Joseph Parker isn't really all that slick. So, but would that be a good consolation prize for you guys?
What, Parker?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think that's the fight it should be made. It's a unification. I mean, who else can Joshua fight? You know what I mean? At this point, if Wilder's gonna, he's not gonna be Wilder next. Who else can he fight?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously they're talking about Povetkin at some point. I'd like to see that fight. Eddie Hearn spoke to Povetkin's team about making that fight next year. Povetkin Joshua, I think that'd be a good fight. But other than that, I mean, Parker's probably the only sort of logical fight to make right now. He's got a belt.
That's a good point. But now here's my question, man. Sorry, because I can't answer right away. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. But now here's my question to you guys, based on should Joseph Parker lose? That if you pay attention to titles, if Joshua is able to get that title from Joseph Parker, is that more leverage for him against Wilder in negotiations? I mean.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, he'd have 3 out of 4 then, wouldn't
he? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if Parker loses to Joshua, I honestly don't think there's much he can do for his career. Because Wilder
becomes a gatekeeper.
As soon as Joshua knocks Parker out, which he will, because Parker has no power, but as soon as he does that, everyone in the world, everybody in the world's already calling out Joshua. But after he gets that belt, that's the only person that everyone in heavyweight wants to fight.
I'm a bit worried, guys, because I've just asked. Obviously, now I'm talking to Mariark about doing an interview, and he's just called me dad, which is a bit strange.
Well, go ahead and take it, man. It's business.
No. What I'm saying is he just called me Papa. You know what I mean? Obviously, I've never been called Papa by a fighter before.
Wait, he called you Parker?
No, Papa as in dad.
What? Oh, maybe that's a Venezuelan thing. I don't know. Maybe that's the way they. No, but even then,
maybe, yeah. It's, I just find it a bit strange. You know what I mean?
I think you should hang up on him, man.
No, I need the interview. I want the interview. Sorry.
Well, if it gets too bizarre, yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead, see what he wants. Let's see what people are saying in the chat room. People are talking about Vada, and okay, this is the thing. Victor Atkinson explained it to me the other day, and I forgot what it was. Which one is the one that's legit? Is it VADA or USADA?
VADA.
VADA is the one that's legit, right?
But that's the one they're using, if that's what you mean.
No, but I mean, okay, yeah, but what I'm saying is there was one organization that they contact the promoters first regarding the results, as opposed to making it public. Which one? Luis Catorce says VADA is supposed to be legit. Yeah, there's one that supposedly they do the things the right way, the right procedure, and then there's another organization that they give the results to the promoter, so the promoter could choose not to disclose the positive or negative tests, and that's really not the good way to do it. I think it's USADA. Ivan says, isn't USADA, which works more with the UFC? I think they're... Yeah, I think it's USADA with the UFC. But anyway, there was one organization that when Eric Morales proved positive for the rematch against Danny Garcia, they contacted the promoter first. They didn't disclose the results, whereas any other organization has to disclose the results public so everybody knows what's going on. And then I think they contact the State Athletic Commission first, which is what they're supposed to do. But I think it's USADA that they give it to the promoter, and then the promoter can choose to disclose or not, or keep him disclosed. I mean, hidden away.
I'm just sorry to go, Tom. I'm just reading the chat here. Apparently, De Gale's he's having trouble tonight here. I'm not watching it, but apparently De Gale's in trouble, judging by the comments in the chat.
Yeah, what did they say? Baidu fucked up De Gale so bad. De Gale is garbage. Oh, he's looking awful right now?
Well, yeah, that's what people are saying.
Isn't he fighting a no-hoper? Oh, he's fighting Caleb Truax. Okay, listen, if you're having trouble with Caleb Truax, let's see what people are saying in the chat.
Yeah, well, for almost that fight was January of this year?
Yeah, but also De Gale's been in some real tough fights over the years, to be honest.
Yeah, but I think that war with Badu might have fucked him up. He's got to take an easy fight and see if he can even take a punch anymore, because his ability to take a punch may just be completely gone.
Truax could have had a 10-8 round and there was no knockdown. I mean, he must have seen. I mean, that must have been a frotch boot 8 round.
Yeah, I remember Truax when he dropped Jermaine Taylor, but that's about the best thing he ever did in his career. The fact that Daniel Jacobs has very little trouble with him, and now De Gale is struggling with him. I mean, that's... Precise Puncher says, Baidu ruined De Gale. Guess who called it? I guess you, right, Precise? Nicola Ferrari.
Is that fight on right now?
Yeah, apparently De Gale is having trouble with Caleb Truax right now. Now, I'm intrigued, man. I'm intrigued. So people in the chat room, keep up those updates. They're saying that De Gale has a chin, though. Yeah, that thing. He has heart, man. The fact that he was in trouble against Badu Jack and was able to weather the storm. By the way, King Butcher is telling me not to forget to remind you guys to like the chat and to subscribe. Well, hold on a sec. Yeah, so don't forget to do that. I gotta ask Gaia 500. Gaia, what do you think about BDA and King Butcher? Do you think we're good people, or how does that work? I mean, what does your psychological analysis tell you about us?
BDA and King Butcher were pardoned for the war crimes they committed in Saigon. But make no mistake about it, BDA and King Butcher can still wipe out entire villages if they have to.
King Butcher, you want to tell me what the hell Gaia 500 is talking about?
I will not comment on that.
Alright, forget about Gaia 500 for the moment. Fucking Gaia 500 is having glitches. I mean, it's a pretty good... It's been doing pretty well when it comes to making predictions and doing simulations, but Gaia, there's something wrong with you. I mean, what?
Japanese people made me. They are as good at making computers as they are at making tentacle porn.
Alright, we're gonna keep Gaia shut off for the moment because he's saying things that are pretty controversial and they might get a shutdown, so we'll keep Gaia on the shelf for now. What's going on here in the chat? I missed parts of the second round, but it looks like Truax could have won everything from the third on onwards. What the hell? Luis says Gaia 500 needs to be VADA tested. Oh, it needs to have some sort of testing, that's for sure. Foul Poets Boxing says Japanese sex robot now, but that's coming. Gaia 500 speaks lies, says King Butcher. Well, you're right, man. If any heavyweight with skill, says Rory or Torbor says, if any heavyweight with skill comes along, he can beat all these guys. Even Usyk could be a threat. Well, isn't Joshua the best guy, though? I mean, he's probably going to take everybody out. And Nicola Ferrari says, what round for the Gale Truax? 7th right now, says Kaiser Koba. 7th round. All right, maybe the Gale can use some type of conditioning. Oh, Reverse Lee is on the line. He says he can join us for a short while. He hasn't spoken to us in a while. So let's go ahead and invite him for the moment. By the way, Cameron just dropped out. I just noticed. What the hell happened with him? I hope Mariaga didn't get to him. Alright, hold on a second. I gotta find Reverse Lee's. Oh, there we go. Still have his email. Yeah, I'm very curious. This whole thing about Caleb Truax almost beating the Gale has slowed the conversation down. Sorry about that, guys, but I'm very curious about the fight, so I gotta... Fury is the best right now, says Rory. Yeah, well, maybe. Alright, King Bucho, do you have any updates on the fight? I mean, are you watching it at the same time?
No.
Okay, but I'm curious, man. I
don't care. Fuck.
Yeah? Okay, so let's keep talking about Rigondeaux versus
Lomachenko. About the Gale. Fuck that shit.
Hey, Reverse, how are you, man?
Fine.
It's been a while, man. You've been pretty busy lately or something?
Yeah, school's been coming pretty hard.
I get that, man. I still remember those days. What was it? Test exam period right now, or midterms or whatever?
Yeah, my midterms are next week.
Next week? My goodness gracious. Okay, Ivan just sent me a link for the fight. I don't know if I should watch the fight though right now because it might slow down the chat, the stream. So, okay, Reverse, man. I gotta ask you, man.
So wait, DeGale is really struggling against Caleb Truax.
That's what people are saying, man. Apparently, there was even a round where it could have been
Andre Durrell blew him out in 1 round.
Oh, Andre Durrell beat... That's the other loss from Caleb Truax. See, that's what I'm saying. First of all, that's what I'm saying. Durrell is underrated.
Yeah, it's him. It's Durrell and Daniel Jacobs.
Didn't Jermaine Taylor beat him also, or Caleb Truax beat Jermaine Taylor?
I think I heard that was like a close fight, and he got the nod.
Who got the nod? Caleb's?
Did he fight Jermaine Taylor?
Yeah, he fought him a while back.
Yeah, I think somebody told me that was a close fight and he got the nod or something like that.
Okay, but I'm just curious. See, that's the thing. First of all, Durrell, if he wanted to, he could dominate the division right now with his talent and
Durrell.
Yeah, he could. But I'm saying
how.
But this is what I'm saying.
No,
these guys have no heart to be.
He would lose to Ramirez.
But hold on. I said if, and it's a big if. I understand, but if he had a different type of mentality and a different type of boxing IQ, because physically he has it all. He has speed, power, reflexes, but mentally.
Wait, which Durrell are you talking about?
Andre Durrell.
You mean the Durrell that was getting beaten by Ustakekai?
I know, but what I'm saying is, if he had, like, if you put Andre Ward's brain into his body, he could be.
Oh, you mean with those astonishing borderline body shots?
Oh, here we go. Listen, I'm not gonna get into this right now with with the whole Andre Ward is overrated thing. But suffice to say that Andre Durrell, for all his faults, physically, he has better hand speed and better punching power than most guys at super middleweight. But like I said, mentally, he's just not there, man. He looks for way outs during fights. He's not the smartest fighter out there. So, but physically, man, he has the talent to make things happen. And so what? Hold on a second. I want to see some updates about the fight. Ward's brain into whose body? Well, I'm saying Andre Ward into Andre Durrell. You know what? Forget about that fucking conversation. Give me some updates, people. Give me some updates. I need some updates here. Kaiser Koba says...
Oh, yeah. Did anybody catch that astonishing great body work by Felix Valera?
No, what happened there?
Valera fought Barrera. You didn't see all those body shots?
Oh, Valera. I thought you said Valero. No, yeah, Valera. Yeah, that... He went to the Andrew Goleta School of Low Blows, man. Let me tell you something right there.
Whoa. You mean body shots?
Yeah, that's I should have said body shots. Yeah, I should have said...
I mean, now we know that Barrera is weak to the body.
You mean weak to the balls, man?
I mean, if you say it for one guy, you got to say it for everybody.
Yeah, no, yeah, Andrew Ward definitely did. If you're referring to Andrew Ward, yeah, he's fucking a ball breaker as well.
Yeah, but anyway, we were talking about the Rigondeaux Lomachenko fight.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on that.
I got Lomachenko by knockout.
Mm-hmm.
How anybody can really see that fight going any other way.
I can understand the stoppage, but I'm not like when you say knockout, do you envision Rigondeaux laying on the floor,
like possibly unconscious?
Whoa. Okay, see that I would disagree with. But I mean, a stoppage I can see it, but like explain it to me. How do you see Lomachenko catching Rigondeaux like that?
He just goes after him and hits him. I mean, Rigondeaux, he's not an easy guy to hit if you actually throw punches that aren't loaded up.
Okay.
I mean, the reason he was able to dodge the majority of Donaire's shots is because he would just load them up. The majority of that fight, he was just looking for the left hook.
Mm-hmm. See, that's a good point. That's a good point. And another point is that Donaire wasn't even trying to go to the body in that fight.
Yeah, I saw you talking about Donaire earlier. The thing with Donaire is he had good footwork and speed when he was in the lower weight classes, but once he moved up, he couldn't do that anymore, so he just had to look for the big shot.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah,
and since his opposition was rather weak, he was able to get it.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, that's what I said before, man. That's what I said before.
Yeah, King Butcher did. I mean, you guys are going on record. You know, we got this on record, and your predictions, they make sense, man. And what I'm asking though now is, because I said Donaire didn't go to the body against Rigondeaux, which he should have. Do you guys think Lomachenko is gonna open himself up by going downstairs, or is he gonna keep it mostly upstairs?
I mean, it's not like Rigondeaux can really take a shot, and plus, Rigondeaux doesn't rely on footwork that often either.
That's
he pivots.
Yeah, he can pivot. Yeah, he pivots, but he doesn't really like move with a lot of, side to side movement back and forth.
Yeah, I agree. Oh God.
I'm getting tired of that. I'm really getting tired of it. But here's my question. If Lomachenko, whether he goes to the body or not, do you still see him stopping Rigondeaux, or?
Yeah, it'll more than likely be with a headshot.
That's an interesting. I don't know.
I mean, what fight have you seen when Rigondeaux could ever take a shot well?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. When people tell me we made a series of videos, right, regarding each guy's strengths and their weaknesses, and I said that Rigondeaux doesn't have a good chin. Now, you said you went overboard trying to poke the Rigondeaux fans in the chest, and you said, oh, Amir Khan has a better chin. Regardless of that,
pretty much,
the Rigondeaux fans came back and they said, well, he has a good chin because
I don't know how anybody can really be a fan of Rigondeaux.
Well,
it really makes no. I mean, like, what do you like about Rigondeaux that you can't get from a bunch of other fighters?
You know what it is, Reverse. You know what it is.
And so does King Bucho.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen. I think we're all on the same wavelength here, and we're boxing fans. We're not fans of any particular color out there. But other people, not the same thing. Now, here's the thing, though. I said, and you said the same thing, that Rigondeaux doesn't have that good a chin. But then people said, the Rigondeaux fans came back and they said, well, it's not that he has a bad chin because he gets back up and he finishes guys. So then I said in another video,
his weak opposition.
But here's the thing. Then I said in another video that Rigondeaux, compared to Lomachenko, he has slightly inferior footwork because he's been dropped and he's been off balance. And then I got shit from the Rigondeaux fans. But the question is this: which one is it? Does he go down because he's off balance, or does he go down because he's got a bad chin? See, the Rigondeaux fans, you can't have it both ways.
Listen, as soon as Rigondeaux gets knocked out, all we're going to hear is, oh, Rigondeaux was too old, he was too small, he didn't have a chin. I always knew as soon as he went up and fight somebody, he was going to get knocked out because he never had a chin.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna come in with that. But here's the thing. Here's the beauty of this: the Rigondeaux fans, who for the most part were quite impolite towards the BDA organization, we got all their comments on the record. So everybody that said that Rigondeaux was gonna school Lomachenko, if Lomachenko wins, they're gonna have to eat crow. But again, I gotta remind people that in my mind, I don't see this fight being a blowout unless Rigondeaux looks really old in there. I don't think I disagree with the fact that people say that Lomachenko is gonna knock him out cold.
I mean, you got to remember, this is the same guy. So, Thunderdome Boxing talked about this, and I never knew about this until he told me. So, you know, when he went to Japan to fight Amagasa, right? And then he got dropped in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
He signed a contract with Mr. Honda of Tekken Promotions to fight his contender, Shingo Ake.
Okay.
So he fights Amagasa, who's obviously no more than like a C+ level fighter. He gets dropped, and then he actually pulls out of the fight and has to pay Mr. Honda a bunch of money after signing the contract.
So what are you saying? You're saying he didn't want to fight any Japanese fighters anymore?
Basically.
Well,
I don't know.
They are pretty dangerous, you know, and...
Asian people aren't human.
Okay, fucking Gaia, you gotta shut the fuck up. Sorry about that. Yeah, okay, so you're saying he was afraid of fighting the Japanese fighters because they are tough, man. Maybe he feels... Okay, here's the other thing I wanted to ask you, Reverse. And I just remembered, talking about Asian fighters, Rigondeaux looked really awful against that Filipino fighter on the undercard of Canelo Cotto. I forget the guy's name. Frias. I mean, I know precise
Francisco.
Yeah.
Gian Francisco.
One of those guys, yeah. Precise Puncher did a great video on that. And to me, that's the smoking gun about how much Rigondeaux has left. And that was in 2015, by the way. I don't think that was supposed to be the fight in which he was going to show people that he was back. It was on an undercut of a big fight. He could have blown the guy out. Instead, he ran for 10, 12 rounds. I forget how many rounds it was the fight. And he threw 1 punch or 3 punches per round. I mean, does that inspire confidence in you for Rigondeaux?
No.
Exactly.
No fight. I mean, it's not like he beat the hell out of and knocked out Donaire. He went all 12 rounds against him, too.
Uh-huh.
And he got dropped.
Yeah, but then again,
that's Rigondeaux's best win.
Hey, but then again, at the same time, that was Donaire. Donaire was a monster back then. He was dropping people. He was, winning almost every round.
But that's his best win. A guy who wasn't anything past 118.
Yeah, definitely. He looked chunky at 122, 126. Donaire did. So yeah, he wasn't in the best.
And Rigondeaux's pretty much been at 122 his whole life.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you there, man. I agree with you there. In hindsight, and that's what we were talking about in the past couple of podcasts about hindsight. In hindsight, Donaire has lost a couple of times, but
he actually got the WBC silver belt.
Donaire?
6.
You're talking about Donaire?
Yes.
Oh, anybody can get a belt nowadays. That's just the way the business works. But
don't be too surprised if you see Gary Russell Jr. fighting him in his next fight.
Well, actually, now that you think about it, how do you think that fight would go?
Why would I pick Donaire?
Because he's got that left hook, man. That left hook is dynamite for anybody.
I mean, if you get caught with it.
Right.
But it's so loaded up. How could you really get hit with that? If Gary Russell Jr. is as good as many people say he is.
You're right, man. Now here's another question, because it's an interesting point. Obviously you already said that you think Lomachenko is going to win, but both guys can be pretty dirty when they want to by holding the back of the head. If it comes to an inside fight, who do you think wins the rough stuff in there?
Does Rigondeaux has he ever fought on the inside?
That's the thing. Somebody gave me shit for that on YouTube because I said that I've never seen Rigondeaux fight on the inside. In fact, I'll go as far as saying...
Is he even capable of doing that?
I don't think so. I've never seen him do it.
You can't... If your only punches are straight and overhand shots, you can't really fight on the inside.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Ray, you were going to say something?
Donaire knocked him down on the inside when he was real close.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It wasn't even that hard of a shot.
It was just the positioning. The guy was squared up. Rigondeaux, that is. So, I mean, if you're making mistakes like that, I gotta think if Lomachenko might be, one of the best fighters in the world, might be able to exploit that. I don't know. You call me crazy, but I mean, Gaia, do you agree with this whole thing about? I mean, how do you see what advantage do you see Rigondeaux having in there?
He has a puncher's chance.
Okay, well, see, that's what everybody else thinks. So we already got that covered.
I mean, don't the majority of fighters have a puncher's chance?
Yeah, exactly. But that's the whole thing.
I mean, is that really anything special?
No, not really.
That's a fucking good point, man. That's a very good point.
Like,
you know, when
that's
when
what I
you
was
have
thinking
nothing
about.
else.
Yeah, I was thinking
have a
about that the
puncher's
other
chance.
day. Like, how is, like, people say Wilder, I like him because he got power. Well, all he brings into every fight is a puncher's chance. Does that make you a great world level fighter?
No.
That's the opposite. It shows how limited you are as the fighter.
And first of all, it's not even established that Rigondeaux has the better punching power. I mean, it's still up for debate.
Yeah, but is his power going to carry up 2 divisions?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's not even a sure thing that he even hits harder than Lomachenko. And even if he did hit...
Precise said Rigo fought Cordoba on the inside and got knocked down. Wasn't that when he ate that jab?
Well, I think that might be what he's saying, that he was trying to get on the inside and he got timed with that jab. And by the way, that Cordoba fight, I know it was, 7 years ago? But it's still... Oh, Christ.
Enough.
Yeah, I agree, Guy. Yeah, enough with the whole what is love. But anyway, the Cordoba fight, I know it was 7 years ago, but he really looked bad in that fight. I mean, not bad in the sense that he looked rusty or anything, but it was just he was up against a tricky guy with good defense, and he couldn't dominate him.
Doing a lot of running.
Who, Rigondeaux or Cordoba? Both? Is that what you said?
Rigondeaux.
Yeah, okay, sorry, because I couldn't hear you. Yeah, Rigondeaux did a lot of moving in that fight. He didn't want to engage, and that's what I'm saying. When you have a guy who's a puncher, a boxer, and he can't cut off the ring, you know, he's not used to fighting on the inside. If he's getting outboxed by a superior boxer, what's plan B? You know what I mean? I mean, you saw Yurikas Gamboa against Terence Crawford. He was getting outboxed, and then he jumped into the fire, tried to get a knockout, but he was so sloppy, and he got caught with huge shots and ended up
Okay, does anybody think that he beat Jason Sosa?
Oh, okay, well, hold on. Let's stick to one thing at a time. First of all, Rigondeaux, do you think that if he starts getting outboxed, he has a plan B?
Does he? I don't really know if he really has a plan to win. I think he just, at best, he'll just try to run and survive all 12, which I don't think he can do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't see him knocking out Lomachenko. I think Lomachenko can take the better part of Rigondeaux's straight left hand, and Rigondeaux does load up on that. He doesn't like pull it all the way back, but he does kind of lean his shoulder back a little bit, and then kind of like do a little dip before he throws it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, and I don't want to get caught up too much on the issue of power, but I just lost my train of thought. Sorry, what did you just say at the end here?
That Rigondeaux, his best punch is the left hand, but it's always like either an overhand shot or he tilts back his shoulder and then dips before he throws it.
Okay, so you're saying, yeah, he sort of sees it coming there. I just remember what I wanted to ask you. Have we ever seen, though, Lomachenko be able to take a flush shot to the face? I'm talking real fucking hard.
Depends on who hit him with it.
Because I thought Jason Sosa has pretty good punching power, but he never really hit him. I think Marriaga hit him with a couple of overhand rights, but at that weight, I don't know how hard Marriaga could hit.
Lomachenko?
Yeah.
I think Salido got him with some shots. He can usually take a shot pretty well.
You're right. Orlando Salido, I think, hit him with an overhand right or a left hook, I think. I'd have to watch the fight again. Actually, I think it's in the highlights that I did when I did a video about Lomachenko's ability to take body shots. Precise Percentage says Loma has better KOs and more KOs than Rigondeaux. Yeah, that's the fact that Lomachenko is able to make guys quit is really telling. But then again, if you look at Rigondeaux's ability to hurt guys, break their jaws, mangle their faces, that's also telling.
But you also have to compare the opposition.
A good point, yes.
Like, Jaza Dickens isn't the same as Jason Sosa. Two
You're
completely different levels.
You're absolutely right, man. And like I said, I want to go back to that whole thing about the Francisco Daria, the Filipino guy that he fought on the undercut of Cotto Canelo. That was 2 years ago, and he didn't look good in those 12 rounds. Since then, he's never gone past, what, 5 rounds or something like that? Even less, I think.
I'm not sure. He hasn't been fighting anybody either.
Exactly. So, I mean, ring rust is the most dangerous factor here for him. So, reverse, I gotta ask you then, which round do you expect Rigondeaux to get knocked out in?
Honestly, it depends on, like, Lomachenko might carry him a little bit, which he probably should. As much trash as he's talked, I would just embarrass him. Because Rigondeaux, he talks more trash than any other fighter, but he does not have the resume or the of skill against other high-level fighters to back that up.
Mm-hmm. I agree there. And that's the other thing. Why does Rigondeaux talk so much smack? I mean, is he just that?
Because he's a girly guy. Like he's always on social media, trying to make himself look good. He's very egotistic. And I think another reason, and a lot of people do this, he has to say that stuff over and over again to not only convince other people, but convince himself that it's true.
I was gonna just say that, man. He's trying to pump himself up, or convince himself that he can win the fight. That's pretty.
I guess if he thinks he powers himself up, that his chin a little bit better. Like it's that old thing, if I believe, it will happen, but
now,
it probably won't.
I don't know if it's me, but this is pretty common with Cuban boxers. To talk a lot.
Yeah, like
remember Joel Casamayor against Marquez?
That's another example. Yeah, you're right.
Ruslan Lara. I mean, this guy is like a Twitter warrior. I mean, every time that Triple G announces a fight, he challenges Triple G.
Right.
Which doesn't make sense. He's always on Twitter talking shit. Name me another Cuban fighter. Gamboa was pretty
Sullivan Barrera.
Sullivan Barrera. Ortiz, not really. The only exception is Ortiz, and the only exception also is he's actually kind of exciting to watch.
Well, you know what? Sorry, there's a guy on the chat says, "Son of Apollo," says that we're Rigo haters. But listen, we're not the ones going around on Twitter badmouthing people. I mean, we're calling
the
it
Rigondeaux fans are some of the biggest haters that have ever lived.
They really came at BDA, myself, Mr. BDA, and Bucho, man, when we did those videos, and we just pointed out, Rigondeaux has been dropped a couple of times, so either it's his foot balance that's awful, or it's his chin. Pick one. And they started
with jabs, slaps.
Yeah, they started
little tight, tucked-in shots.
They started calling us all sorts of names. This guy, world rank, he's still going at it. He's saying you guys are haters. Well, I mean, what exactly are we saying that's illogical here? What are we saying that's illogically hating a guy? I mean, you tell us, man. Or actually, you should come into the chat. You should come into the Google Hangouts and tell us to our faces, or as close to our faces as you can, because I really don't understand what it is that we're saying that's hating here. I mean, we're reading Rigondeaux's tweets.
You're saying negative stuff about my fighter. You guys are just haters because you don't like Rigondeaux. So what if he got knocked down by Amagasa, who he had to drain down a weight class, and who wasn't even that good of a fighter to begin with? So what if he got dropped by a jab? So what if he got knocked down by a little shot from Donaire? You guys are just haters. How dare you point out factual information to me?
Ha ha ha, that is funny. Allow me some time to recompose myself.
All right, first of all, let me just address something here. I'm glad Gaia has a sense of humor now. World rank is
subjective.
What's that?
Somebody said we're not being subjective.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I want to address that. He's saying, world ranked is saying, you all don't say anything good about Rigo. First of all, I said good stuff about Rigo from the beginning of the podcast, and I've been making videos about his strong points as well as some of his
if Rigo actually had a chin and he wasn't such a coward, he could have been one of the best fighters that ever lived.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, man. But then again, that's also... He didn't get the chances to fight some of the best. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about the negotiation process, so I can't speak on that. But didn't some people avoid him or anything?
I mean, he was ducking Chucky for a while, and Chucky was just his mandatory.
Okay. So yeah, so you're saying that certain commitments he didn't live up to then.
And he would always like over exert himself onto Carl Frampton. Like Rigondeaux does not sell any tickets.
Oh no, he doesn't.
But when he comes to somebody like Carl Frampton who actually does fairly well, he's talking about, I want 50%. Which you're not gonna get that.
He doesn't understand the capitalist system, how it works.
And what he does is
especially boxing.
What he does is he'll do that, and then he'll say, "Oh, he didn't give me 50%. You can tell he's ducking me. They're all scared of me, every last one of them." Which in reality, no, they're not.
Yeah, he'd rather choose easy fights and get a payday, and that's it. He's not looking for. But now, because I think he realized he's getting old and he's never gonna get that big fight, so that's why he's jumping up to weight divisions. He's fucking desperate.
Yeah, you gotta remember, in his last fight, he got paid $250,000.
Well, hold on. Rory Tobor is asking, so what if he doesn't sell tickets? How is that substantive?
Oh, we're going back to see. We shouldn't mention the tickets because then they're gonna say that we're only focusing on that. We just focus on all his flaws.
But wait, hold on.
And then they complain, and now we talk about he doesn't sell, and then it's like, oh no, you're just focusing on. So what the hell? So we should just praise Rigondeaux and not mention any of his flaws.
The reason why we're bringing up the ticket sales is because we talked about how he didn't fight the best, and one of the reasons why he couldn't fight the best is because nobody wanted. In part, is because he's not a ticket seller. So he's not worth the risk for many of these guys. So that plays.
It's not just the risk. If you do not give Rigo, like, nobody wants to give a fighter that is lesser than them their money.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Rigo has had chances to prove himself. I mean, he was in the undercard of Canelo, and then like they put him in against a shitty opponent in the undercard of Canelo Cotto. Like, he's on pay-per-view. And he's like, no, that's the time where he has to show off and impress everyone, and he doesn't do it. He throws like seven punches per round or something.
And the thing is with that, like even with that,
he's a victim. Like, he's still a fucking victim. Like, get out of here.
All the time. And Rigondeaux's like, what, 37 years old? Here's my thing with a lot of guys who say, I can't get the big fights that I want. Well, why don't you just fight like lower opposition consecutively?
Exactly. I mean, a bit like Golovkin. What he was doing, he was fighting consistently.
Golovkin got
3 times a year. Get your name out there,
When he made his HBO debut, he got like less than $20,000. So he should have just like carried Proxer to the 12th round, right? Not try to go for the knockout, so he could actually, so he could stay in HBO and keep getting the fights. And then people say, oh, they're always trying to sell us something. No, people just keep buying it.
Well, see, the thing is, the world ranked, the guy who's a Rigondeaux fan, he's saying, not being objective, you can be critical, but at least try not to show bias. But how are we showing? I mean, I don't understand. I'd like for the guy to come in and tell us exactly everything that we're saying, disprove it. Like,
I mean, I don't like people who talk a lot, but they can't back it up.
Well, that's exactly it.
It's wrong. It's wrong for me to dislike you because you are really a fraudulent fighter.
The thing that I have, I mean, that's a good point. First of all, because that means that let's not point out any flaws. Let's lie to each other. Like, let's say reverse. Let's say you and I knew each other in person, and you're an alcoholic or something, and then I never tell it to you. I never point it out. I never go, listen, reverse. Maybe you should stop with the drinking or whatever. You're getting very rowdy.
Or maybe you're my boss.
You just start hiding your credit cards, and cash away from him if you knew he's alcoholic,
Yeah, maybe, but... Oh, by the way, you're back, Ivan. How are you, man?
Oh, I'm good. Like, I love your chat. I was going to say one thing.
Go ahead.
I don't want to sound biased, but I am Ukrainian. So it's kind of funny because, like, a lot of Rigo fans, they talk that Lomachenko is actually trash talking. But I understand.
Usually whenever he says something negative about Rigondeaux, it's because somebody asked him about him.
But the funny thing is that I speak Russian, so I understand what Lomachenko is saying, and then I see Igas translating and he translate like Lomachenko would say something like, yeah, Rigo is a good fighter, and like Igas would translate, yeah, he will fuck him up, or like
Yeah, I heard that
Igas is so off in translation.
Oscar,
it's just like ridiculous.
I heard that Oscar does that to Canelo too. Like he'll be translating him speaking Spanish, and then I'll see people in the comment section saying that Oscar is translating things that Canelo didn't even say.
Yeah, Igas like awful at translating. I don't know.
I mean, I like Igas Clemas, but he shouldn't be.
I like him too, but he's not a translator, you know. He like they ask him on ESPN something like, "Oh, okay, Lomachenko, what do you think about this upcoming fight?" And he asking Igas to translate, and Igas says in Russian like, "Fuck, what the fuck?" And then he translates, and like you can see Lomachenko start giggling during the time because he's like just cursing straight up in Russian. It takes him a while to understand what he's asked. I don't think his like English is much better than Lomachenko's. But to his credit, Lomachenko is trying to learn English because he understands that.
Unlike Rigondeaux.
Exactly, like you need to kind of capture American market in order to be like a side or British market. I don't know.
You gotta do something, and you gotta do something.
Yeah, you have to stand out. It doesn't like people think it's like the skill, it's everything and things like that. But like,
it's entitlement.
Yeah, but nobody watching.
Yeah,
nobody watching amateur boxing. I'm sure there are like plenty of skilled boxers there, but like to be most of the casuals looking for something extra over the boxing skills,
Sorry to cut you off, but this like Rigondeaux, here's the thing: he feels he's entitled. He comes into professional boxing with 2 gold medals, and he's waiting for a fucking red carpet to be right there for him to walk, and everybody's supposed to cheer him. And probably his fucking camp is telling Rigondeaux like, no, you shouldn't take this fight. You should take this amount of money. They're telling him, oh, you're such a great fighter. You're such a legend in the amateurs. You shouldn't be taking this such amount. I'm telling you, this guy's mismanaged. This guy thinks he's a fucking god. His fucking fans thinks he's a god, but he's not. This is professional boxing. It's supply and demand. Nobody wants to see him. He's not gonna get paid. That's how it works.
I mean, why does it seem that like it's only black fighters who do that stuff?
No, I don't know, man.
I think people like
Rigondeaux is not black. Like he is Cuban. He just happens to be dark skinned. I don't know why everybody says, "Oh, you hating on a brother. You hating on a brother."
He's not even. He's Cuban. Like, man, I'm not gonna into the fucking racial.
I'll give you. Sorry, guys. I'll give you like one example. Like, because people say like, oh, like black fighters, they're like so mistreated. Cuban fighters are so mistreated.
They are the most.
But then, like,
they are the most catered to in history.
Take example Crawford versus Postal. Okay, Postal just beat Matisse. He knocked him out, and what do they do? Throw him like first defense straight against Crawford, which is like no title defense, it's nothing. After this, they give him zero fights. Nobody is talking about this.
But Gervonta Davis, he shouldn't have to fight unification fights if he just wants to defend his title against bombs. He's too young. You guys, why should he risk taking an L against a good fighter when he could just build his resume?
All I'm saying, like promoters have a certain vision on who's their main stars, who not. So they're gonna push. Like it's not all about skin color. It's more about like who sells, who's not. And they're looking at the numbers. It's like pure business to them. So I wouldn't like if I like would I cry about every Eastern European fighter, like every Ukrainian that got mistreated? No, because there's no market for that. But like I get uplifted when somebody like Lomachenko gets praises and he's like stands out of all the others. So why can I cheer for him? Because
I mean, okay, who are the most mistreated fighters in boxing?
I don't like this term in general. Like it's just
I mean, like a guy getting robbed is him being mistreated, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you say
what country robs fighters more than anybody else?
Russia.
Russia.
Well, Russia stages like a lot of like internal fights. They wouldn't like.
I mean, just based on what they did in the Olympics alone. I mean, you robbed every country essentially.
You're talking about the fights, not the every Olympics in the world.
I'm talking like in professional boxing. When you watch boxing, who do you see getting robbed the most?
Well,
I don't see anybody in
underdogs.
particular get most. Yeah, exactly. Like usually a side gets an advantage, like regardless of the country.
Yeah, I think
like
so.
I don't see a big conspiracy like country wise. I don't feel like, you know.
I mean, if you want to say it's Europeans
because
I say if you want to say it's Europeans because of recent events like Kovalev, but the thing is, Kovalev is fighting in the U.S. So
no. I'm not arguing. I'm not saying there's. I'm not saying in any way that it's certain nationality or country. It's just a side usually has advantage over B side when it comes to the scorecards. So like, but you don't have to tie in the nationality race to it. That's what I'm trying to say. As being mistreated, you can find like people that being mistreated from any country if you want to. You can find example if you want to. Yeah, if people go to Japan, like maybe like if somebody fights Inui, let's say somewhere in Japan, like what are the odds?
It's very rare to get robbed in Japan.
Really?
Yeah. They don't. Yeah, they don't.
Guy who got.
Oh yeah, you're
usually,
right.
Like the only people who get robbed in Japan is like when Murata got robbed. The Japanese gold medalist, he got robbed by Endom in Japan.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Well, at the end of the day, some people in the chat room are saying that we should get away from the race talk. Personally, I think it's sad when certain people, you know, root for a guy just based off his skin color. But that's, you know what, it's part of the game, man. People are always like I think we talked about this a long time ago during the podcast about how since the beginning of boxing's ascent, it's always been about Irish versus Italians versus blacks versus Mexicans versus Puerto Ricans. That's the type of stuff still goes on today, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. So I think the best thing we can do is just ignore that and focus on the actual boxing. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
100% agree.
I mean, I think it's a pretty sensible point, right?
That's racist. That's racist.
Okay, first of all, Gaia is malfunctioning all the time. I don't even know what I'm going to do about it. Okay, well, actually, now we'll get back to the prediction because we did input a lot of data into Gaia 500.
What about the HBO card?
Wait a minute. Which HBO? Oh, the Salido Roman fight?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's gonna watch that one afterwards. That one's on DVR.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that fight afterwards. I'm the Lomachenko-Rigondeaux fan. That's the fight. That's the one that I really want to see, man.
Who do you think will win that though?
Salido one?
Is it just me, or has Salido like looked really funny? Like he just doesn't look right.
Didn't him come a little overweight?
Roman made 130.5, I think, and then he made 131.
So did he have to pay a fine or something?
I'm not sure.
Probably did have to. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he did.
He had all of his clothes off.
I mean, when you gotta do that. But yeah, I'm not gonna watch that fight. I mean, I'm gonna watch it afterwards. I'm not gonna sacrifice watching Rigo. But I mean, they both start at 10, right? If I'm reading that correctly.
I think the HBO one starts at 9.
Well, let me check.
Or one of them starts at 9 and one starts at 10.
Yeah, HBO always starts at 9 because they have a movie premiere at 7, I think.
Do you guys think they do it on purpose to like mess with Top Rank, like just throw a fight card at the same time?
They all do that to each other.
Okay, here's the thing. ESPN starts at 9 p.m. according to Fight News, and the HBO card starts at 10. So we should let's see, if things work out properly, we might be able to catch both. They might not overlap. I don't know. But
you guys think Tevin Farmer wins the?
Well, we had Cameron.
I'll be rooting for Kenichi Ogawa because he's a Tekken fighter. I think Tevin Farmer will probably beat him. I've watched a couple of Kenichi Ogawa's fights. I'll be surprised if he wins.
Why are you so pro Japanese fighters?
Like watching them fight because they don't hold. They don't say, "Oh, I need all American judges and an American referee, or I'm not gonna fight you." Like when Inoue, who was Japanese, fought Kono Kohi, who was Japanese. Robert Byrd was the referee. You think you'll ever see Terrence Crawford doing something like that?
Well, I mean, I don't know. He's never fought in Japan before.
Like have him bring out like outside people for that, and also like they don't hold. They actually fight good competitive fights. Like Inoue has been chasing unification fights for a while now. He just has been chasing the Ancajas fight to death, and Ancajas for what Manny Pacquiao just seems like he does not want that fight to happen.
Well, okay, so that's why you like Japanese fighters. Well, I mean, they do have the heart.
Then they were trying to make the Yafai fight, and then Yafai ducked out of that fight too.
See, it sounds like in Japan they kind of have their traditional before the end of the year fight card. And
yeah, they always usually have like a New Year's Eve fight card.
Yeah, wasn't that partially why he did like Inoue couldn't like make the Superfly 2?
Yeah, that too, but they could have probably, because I don't think Inoue would struggle with this guy he's fighting at all. He's fighting a WBO ranked guy who's like number 20 or 30 in the world. Oh, yeah, and I saw Antonio Nieves in his last fight. Remember him?
Yeah, against...
He said that he proved he could hold his own against any 115-pounder.
Well, if by that he means getting beaten, yeah.
Like, what performance did he have that proved that?
He made past one round. What?
Well, listen, you gotta give the guy credit. He showed heart in that fight. But yeah, you're right. He's being a little bit.
I mean, that's
delusional.
What heart?
Guys, DeGale lost, I think.
Yeah, he lost. That's what I read in the chat room. People are saying it was a majority decision, I believe. So that DeGale versus DeGale, who was looking forward to fighting the winner of Groves Eubank, I guess he can say goodbye to that one.
Wait, Eddie Hearn couldn't get him the decision.
Apparently not, man.
Well, he didn't go with Eddie Hearn. He went with Frank Warren.
Oh.
Yeah, Frank Warren doesn't have the juice he used to have back in the day. It's all about Eddie Hearn now. King Bucho in the chat is saying, I like tentacle porn. What does that have to do with anything? Oh, because we're talking about Japanese guys, yeah. But
somebody said the Japanese stole my bag.
Yeah. First of all, the Japanese don't steal things. I mean, for the most part. I heard that if you leave something in the streets over there, nobody picks it up. Now, is that because they're neurotic? Or is that because they actually respect the law? That's a question for another time there. Okay, so first of all, I gotta ask Gaia 500, because we input a lot of information into it. It's been gathering data from all over across the internet, and it's been running simulations non-stop since Monday. So we're gonna ask it. We're gonna ask it. Who wins the Rigondeaux versus Lomachenko fight? Okay, we're gonna ask that. Should we ask it now or should we save it for later?
Go ahead and do it now.
All right, Gaia 500, from all the information that you've gathered, who is going to win tonight between Lomachenko and Rigondeaux?
BDA jacks off to midget porn.
Okay, first of all, that's not true. And you know what? I don't even know why I'm bothering with this fucking shit. Forget about that. No, really, seriously, forget about it. Ivan, did we get your prediction about Lomachenko and Rigondeaux?
I will go with Lomachenko.
But that's because
I'll try to explain. No. I know that's because I'm Ukrainian. I know, but like I was picking Joshua against Klitschko, but the reason I think Lomachenko will beat him is inactivity, because I think Lomachenko has like a crazy work rate.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're looking on the who wins like round after round, if you're being more active, you show more work rate, and he has a crazy cardio. So like I don't think he fights like Donaire or anybody like who Rigondeaux face, and vice versa. But I think he beats him on the decision.
But that's the thing, though. Flip side to that coin is, has Lomachenko ever fought somebody like Rigondeaux?
No, I'm saying it's like vice versa. I would say that's
nowhere near
for first time for both of them. But like, would you guys think they face somebody alike in the amateurs, like 400 fights? Like, is there a chance they fought? Like Lomachenko probably.
Well, here's the thing: most amateur fighters are just like Rigondeaux. He just took his amateur style, which is benefits him the most in the amateurs, and he just brought that up to the professionals, because in most amateurs fight like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Rigondeaux only lost one time.
Who's watching?
And he does have 2 gold medals.
Sorry. Who's watching James Bond?
Lomachenko lost one time in amateurs.
Lomachenko only lost. I think Rigondeaux, he lost like 10 times.
8, 6, 8.
That's okay, but they recorded too.
I know, but this is in the amateurs, man.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if you talk like just pure styles, he probably saw somebody like this, so it's not going to be complete surprise. But on the professionals, 100%, there's going to be nothing like he's seen before, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. See, that's an interesting thing right there. It's not about what's happened in the past. It's about what's going to happen in the ring tonight. And I think, I reiterate, I forget about size difference and all that. I think it's going to be an interesting fight as long as Rigondeaux still has his wits about him and he's still sharp. Whether he can do that, I don't know.
I think we're gonna make it pretty interesting.
I think so, man. I think his footwork is going to confuse Lomachenko at least for the first couple of rounds.
It would be interesting to see their footwork is against each other. That's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to the most. Now, who's watching James Bond in the background?
It might be coming onto my phone. My phone might be picking it up from the TV.
Which James Bond are you watching?
That's on it. Know if that's James Bond. Let me see.
Yeah, why don't you go check that out? Because now I'm curious.
It's just an old-timey show.
Oh, an old-timey show. What is it, Kojak?
Let me see what it's called. It's called Airport.
Hey, that's a movie, I think.
Yeah, it was made in 1970.
That's interesting. That's very interesting right there. Now, I mean, you know what? I gotta ask you guys about, because I think we've covered the whole Rigondeaux thing. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Precise Puncher is saying the best comparison to Rigo was Russell. To Loma on Rigo's resume, Jazz at Dickens. Well, okay, I don't know, but yeah, at least Lomachenko fought a guy like Gary Russell Jr. And it's true, we haven't seen Rigondeaux fight anybody like Lomachenko, so it's gonna be interesting to see here. But then again, the Geckomancer says neither of these guys has ever fought anyone like each other, and in fact, no one fights like either of them in boxing. That's true, because even Gary Russell Jr., but at least Gary Russell Jr. had that hand speed and the footwork, so...
What about sparring? Like, the people that brought in sparring, like Lomachenko had, I think, Shakur Stevenson and Zlatko Cunning or whatever.
I don't think Shakur Stevenson will ever really do anything significant in boxing.
But like, in terms of like, if you bring some guy and like, if you bring a guy to your sparring and then you tell him like, try to emulate my opponent the best, who would you bring to emulate Rigondeaux?
I'd actually bring Tevin Farmer in there. I mean, I know Tevin Farmer fights with a different style. He rolls more with punches than Lomachenko-Rigondeaux, but he's got that southpaw style, the hand speed. he's pretty hard to hit. I think it had to be Tevin Farmer.
He sparred Tevin Farmer a lot, Lomachenko previously.
I don't know. Reverse, do you know the answer to that?
No.
I think he did, because I heard a lot of not for this camp for sure, but for previous camps.
I've seen Lomachenko spar T.J. Dillashaw.
Yeah, okay, but come on, come on, man. Like that's. Yeah.
So what? So what?
Exactly what I'm saying. It's an MMA guy. He's not a professional world class boxer. You know what I mean?
No, no. I think he sparred Tevin Farmer, because I've seen the interviews with Farmer.
Yeah, there was one interview I'm seeing 1 year ago
before the Walters fight or something.
It was
like
before
this.
the Martinez. So it says it was from
yeah.
ES News. It says Tevin Farmer after sparring Lomachenko says Rocky Martinez got 0 chance of winning.
Yeah, and he also picked him against Walters too.
And it's another video from 7 months ago where he says, I sparred Lomachenko 8 times. It's 5-3 his favor.
You guys, I'm just asking, like, as a boxing fan, and you guys probably know more than me, but how much sparring high-level opponents means to the upcoming fight? Because I say Mikey Garcia had a crazy sparring partners, right?
Mm-hmm.
But better than some of his actual opponents in the ring. he had Edwin Valero, Pacquiao at his prime, Maidana. Like, he has a crazy sparring resume. I'm just saying, how much is that worth?
I mean, you have to remember, sometimes guys take it easy on you when you spar them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, and sometimes they tell you just to do one particular thing. Awful in sparring, but before they may have said, okay, just come at me as hard as you can, and I'm just going to work on defense. And you may be watching it thinking, wow, he's really getting dug in on those ropes.
Mm-hmm.
Working on blocking the punches with his hands and slipping them. And I don't really think there's as much as such thing as a sparring resume.
Well, can I jump in?
Say.
I will say, yeah.
No, I was gonna try to make a joke.
Well, yeah, don't make it now. Now that I fucked up your timing, sorry about that. But I was gonna say that if world-class sparring is very important, because here's the thing. I've been listening to the Joe Rogan podcast lately, and he's talking nowadays about how hard sparring is detrimental to a fighter in the long term, which is true if the fighter doesn't know how to block or he's not defensively responsible. That's why I always emphasize that guys should learn footwork and defense. That should be the staple of most guys. If you're sparring and getting into wars, like, I don't know if you guys seen that video of Amir Khan when he was with Freddie Roach and he's sparring and he's fucking getting into a heated war, taking flush shots, just exchanging.
You're not supposed to go 100% every time.
Exactly, yeah.
You're supposed to sometimes give it 25, sometimes give it 60. Mm-hmm. Especially at that level of boxing. Because, yeah, you may watch, like, you know, all the little Dante's Boxing Nation, Mayweather Club, Gym Wars, but you got to remember, those are just prospects.
Mm-hmm.
They're still learning. When you have two fighters who actually are schooled and they have an understanding, like Amir Khan, I think he is a high-level fighter. I just wish he would fight somebody. But he shouldn't have sparring camps like that. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 sessions like that throughout his training camp. But if you do that, and James Kirkland is a good example of this, he would have the majority, a good chunk of his sparring sessions fights, he'd be going like 100%, and so would his opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And that had a long-term effect on him.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, you can go hard. Listen, you're supposed to go hard during sparring as well, because it's going to prepare you for the actual fight, which is at 100%. And it's here's the thing: most people who have never boxed don't understand at the pace and the speed at which these guys are going at during an actual fight. It's very high-paced, high intensity, and it can take a lot out of you. So if you're not conditioned,
especially
for
especially because a lot of people also don't know when you spar with way bigger gloves than in competitions, especially when you're a fighter at 147 or below.
Because
when you spar, the gloves are double the size they would be for a fighter who's at 126 or at 130 that actually has a competition.
Exactly. Yeah. They're wearing 8-ounce gloves, and if you're sparring with 16
and then when you spar, you have 16s.
Or some guys.
In addition with the headgear and all that stuff.
And some people wear 18-ounce gloves sometimes. You know, like big punchers or heavyweights, they'll wear bigger gloves. So
yeah, and sometimes your opponent may even have body armor on if you hit really hard.
Yeah, that's the other thing there, man. So what I'm saying is you have to do both. You have to start out slow when you're doing the training camp, but then at some point you gotta step it up a notch. And if you're getting caught with big shots and just you're slugging it out, well, then that's your fault that you don't know proper defense. But a guy like, you know, top level guys like Hopkins, Juan Manuel Marquez, who sparred a lot, but they were defensively responsible, so they avoided most of the damage that most other fighters incurred during sparring. But you gotta keep it balanced, man. And you know what? That's the other flip side of that coin, is that there are some guys who don't spar all that much. For example, Sergio Martinez, I think he didn't spar all that much. He would just focus on other stuff, and that worked out pretty well for him for a period. And then you have other guys like James Toney, who wouldn't even run or anything. He was just, everything was just sparring. That's where he got his conditioning from. So
yeah, and that's how he got to have such a heightened boxing IQ.
But
like a lot of people would rank James Toney at the higher end of some of the most like fundamentally skilled fighters that you could really ever see based on defense, and he got that from his sparring.
Yeah,
because you can't build defense running, and you can attempt to build it on the bag
or on the pads.
Yeah, or on the pad, and the pad is actually a really good workout too.
So
because that can get you good rhythm, that can get you good accuracy, good defense.
But like you said, there's no substitute for actual sparring.
For the
so you would say it depends on a fighter by fighter basis kind of thing. Whoever like what works for them the best.
Well, again, I have to emphasize defense. I mean, you get a guy like Brandon Rios who blocks shots with his hands, and most of those shots get through. Like, he's gonna be eating punches like that during sparring as well. So that's why his career is shortened, because, you know, he's just taking shots whether he fights or whether he spars. But if you got a guy like, for example, Tevin Farmer, I'm pretty sure he's not taking that much damage during sparring. I mean, maybe he'll take shots to the side of the head, or, you know, when you block shots, you still feel the punch. Your brain is still gonna get rattled, but at least you're not taking flush on the chin. Your head's not being snapped back. So it depends. Yeah, you're right.
Got headgear, bigger gloves.
Yeah, but the headgear only protects you against cuts and broken noses. It doesn't really minimize the impact.
It protects your brain too. So because it is another layer of protection.
But from what I understand is, whether you're wearing headgear or not, if your head is shaking, that means your brain is shaking too, and that's what might cause that trauma to it. So, oh yeah, Hamed is asking me thoughts on the fight about DeGale. Hamed, that money train for DeGale, I think he can come back. He's probably gonna get another shot eventually, but now he's in the rebuilding stages, and that Eubank versus Groves winner, bye for him.
I thought he lost to Badou Jack.
He's been rehabilitating.
Yeah, I think he's been rebuilding.
That's true.
Rehabilitating.
That's true.
I mean, when you get both of your
it's a rebuilding.
When you get both of your teeth knocked out, and then you have to go to the dentist and say, "Hey, can you fix my teeth? I'm missing 2 teeth. Can you give me my teeth?"
Oh.
You know, it's hard to be a fighter when you know your teeth can be knocked out like that.
Yeah, man.
Well, if you don't have teeth, it's harder to knock them out. You know, like you can just leave it the way it is. You know.
By the way, did you guys?
How are you gonna keep your mouthpiece in though?
Just glue it up. You know? I don't know. Put the gum.
Have you guys seen that when you?
His career, I think, is over. Honestly.
I mean, if you lose to Caleb Truax, that's pretty bad.
No, as far as high level goes, top contender, no.
Yeah, I think he's pretty much.
The wars just killed him, just like it did with Chocolatito, you know.
I think, didn't you think it's like more of a Gamboa case where he lost to the fight the way he was supposed to be rebuilding?
Didn't Gamboa always get hurt?
Did move up.
Huh?
Miguel did move up, right? He's still 168, so I wouldn't call it the same case. He's still in the same division.
No, I'm saying he lost the fight where he was supposed to look good, kind of rebuilding, because Gamboa quit against what was that? What was his name?
Castellanos.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be a rebuilding fight, and that's for James Miguel was supposed to be like, oh, comeback rebuilding fight before big fight.
Yeah.
In this case, same. I mean,
have you guys seen that when you write James DeGale on Google, this is the first image.
The first picture that comes up is his teeth missing. Yeah, I've seen that.
And it's on
Wikipedia.
It looks like it was taken with a fisheye lens, so it distorts his features. And then you got those teeth. He looks like a vagabond. He looks like a homeless guy. I mean, I don't know who's in charge over at Google Images, but
that could be his life if not too long.
Jesus, reverse. You're vicious, man. Yeah. You are vicious.
I mean, hey, he better spend that money right. Don't make the Mike Tyson decisions because you don't have a whole lot more paydays.
Well, worst case scenario, can't he? You know, he's got a pretty good looking sister, so maybe he could get some money.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
In the worst case scenario,
a little bit. If you can get her to get married to some rich guy.
Well, I was actually thinking more like putting her to work, if you know what I mean.
Damn.
But
yeah, out on the corners after hours.
Exactly.
Some strange for a piece of change.
Oh man, listen. He's got a pretty good-looking sister, man. You can't deny that.
And you got to remember, DeGale has that long head.
Yeah, he's
some
got
women like that in a man.
Yeah, you know what? If I ever met his sister, this is the first thing that I would. I mean, if I see her, this is the first thing that I would ask her, tell her. This is my opening line.
I had a dream I fucked your brains out.
That's what I would say, man. And let me tell you something. Might just work. You never know. Listen, guys. Hold on a second here. Let's see what people are saying in the chat room. Where can I watch the fight? Jesus, a fight. Luis Catorce is saying a vagabond. Yeah, that's a vagabond. That's a French for bum, like King Butcher said. Can you say it in English? Vagabond, you can say it in English too. It's not a particularly French term. Ariel is saying, can we all agree that the fight is going to be interesting? Absolutely. Who says it's not? I mean, worst case scenario, if it's a tactical fight, it's still going to be, how can I say this, interesting, because who can shut down each other's style? Who can neutralize the other guy's advantages? That's what I'm really, really looking forward to. So
I really do not want Lomachenko to go all 12 rounds, because then everybody is going to say he won. I mean, everybody's going to say Rigondeaux won.
That's a good point. People are going to be making up like King Butcher said, who has more to lose? I think Lomachenko at this point, if he doesn't look good.
Yeah, Lomachenko has
100%, yeah.
But then again, man, I mean, how can he... if he looks good against Rigondeaux, that would mean he's very, very good, because Rigondeaux is not easy for anybody. I mean, first of all, forget about looking good. Can he beat him? That's my question. Yes. I mean, I know what you guys think. I know, but I'm saying is Rigondeaux is freaking good, man. He's very good. So I don't. Fuck, man, it's gonna be an interesting fight. I'm pumped, man. I think this is the best fight behind Canelo Golovkin this year. I'm looking forward to this more than I did
Andre Wardley. That, but
well, that's my opinion, man. I mean.
Oh, I agree.
Second is Matt Lauer.
If it's for some reason one-sided, it means like the other person is just that good. That's what I would say. It's just it would be crazy, like you know, be like out of the ordinary if it's like one-sided beatdown.
Yeah, if it's a one-sided beatdown, I'll be very surprised, man. But I know Reverse Lee won't be surprised.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it would be weird.
And by the way, we had a last thing. well, one of the last things actually is that we had what's his name, Miguel Cotto fought last week. Okay, and I actually thought
I did not.
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't see it, but I can't believe he lost to Saddam Ali.
It was a bad styles matchup, man, from the beginning. Me and a couple of other people knew it, man. We saw. I mean, I didn't expect Ali. I didn't pick Ali to win, but I'm not surprised.
Cotto just didn't have the chin, man. That's the problem. He got rocked a lot.
Exactly.
He's too old. He's too old.
Exactly, man. He couldn't see the punches
shaked
coming.
up. His footwork was all fucked up 3-4 times. You know, you watch him, he just kind of stumble. He almost did like a Amir Khan deer dance type thing like 3 times. Not as bad as Amir Khan, but just like a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
I loved Max Kellerman trying to defend Cotto and saying, "Oh, he's slipping," and then Roy Jones shut him down. He said, "Well, how the hell when you slip, you don't do the baby deer dance." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Max Kellerman didn't have anything else to say. But I mean, come on,
What's the baby deer dance?
You know how Amir Khan's legs like give out on him when he gets hit every time? And he wobbles around?
Oh, you mean when you like drop real low and then you start like going to the side and forth and stuff?
Leg, he just like
you mean like what?
Back and forth.
What Zab Judah did against Costa Zoo?
Yes. Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. That's like extreme.
Okay.
That's like extreme version of it. But yeah. But like Amir Khan did it, like he would fall to one side and he'd go back and then he'd go back again. He'd stay in the same position. He'd just go back and forth. And like Cotto kind of did that, not as bad as Khan, but he did that like 3 times in the fight, and it was off punches that weren't even really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy,
it sounds like he almost got knocked out.
Yeah, Amir's not a big puncher, and he moved up in weight, and and he got him like that like 3 times, and he, you know, what's his name's trainer like yelled at him like every fucking round. He's like, dude, you got him, and he was wobbly. He's like, you know. He was just scared to go in for the kill, basically, every time he wounded him.
Well, now the fight everybody wants to see is Saddam Ali versus Triple G, right?
Oh, forget about Triple. Listen,
I think he said he was going to go back down, probably, but you know, that's a good decision for him.
I'm tired
what do you guys
of talking
think
about
of the
Triple G.
rumors of Pacquiao McGregor?
Nobody wants to see that.
Stop all, can we stop this crap, please?
Can McGregor go back to UFC?
I don't think he wants to.
I mean, I don't even know if he can make that weight anymore.
I mean, he can
did
go
you see him on the scales? Did you see him on the scales versus Mayweather?
He looked dead, man. He looked like he was dead.
Yeah,
he had a heart.
that's 1 pound below his like championship weight class.
Mm-hmm.
McGregor is not gonna fight in UFC again because he's demanding too much money now. He's probably telling Dana White like, "This offer you're giving me is not enough. I'm a superstar now because I just fought Mayweather. I made this amount of money. I deserve this amount." So, I mean, the guy, the only fight he could like actually make a lot of money with would be against GSP.
Nate.
Yeah, but
GSP, who is that? George St. Pierre.
George St. Pierre, yeah.
Isn't George St. Pierre like a lot bigger than him?
They could meet at welterweight.
GSP vacated, so he's not gonna be fighting anytime soon. He may be done.
He can fight McGregor if
maybe we can get money. Maybe we can get Nate Diaz 3.
Yeah, probably.
I don't care about that.
Nate Diaz said he's going to boxing. That would be ridiculous. Like,
I think Mayweather will do another MMA fight. If Dana does have the money to pay him, he's just a fucking tightwad and doesn't want.
What's the deal with? Sorry, but what's
Dana White
the deal
is a tightwad.
What's he doing in boxing now?
Who?
Dana White. Dana White. He's like, I'm gonna go into boxing, that UFC boxing branch or some shit.
Everybody says that. I'm gonna go into boxing.
Vanis Martirosyan is free agent, so that's a good start.
he freed himself from the PBC.
He's finally free. He's like he's like an escaped slave.
Yeah. I mean, God, man, he was the only one that was complaining he wasn't getting any fights. I don't understand what these other.
None of those guys really get fights. They just don't complain because it's probably like around their contract or something.
Well, I mean, actually, if Spence gets $3 million, would you complain that you?
Well, that's the thing. It just reminded me about because we're working on a Lamont Peterson versus Errol Spence video, and I realized because I had forgotten this. Lamont Peterson hasn't fought in about a year.
Like has not fought that often.
Yeah, I mean that's the PBC plan right there, man. The PBC career plan. Fight every once a year, man. If that's a good deal. Fighting twice a year, that's like a bonus plan or something for these guys. It's really disgusting, man. But
people talk shit about Thurman that he only fought like twice, but like Spence only fought like
that's a lot
three
for him.
times. He fought 3 times.
Well, Spence got held up waiting for his belt with Kell Brook. Like, he went, I don't know, from between July and
May.
Yeah, I mean, he got held up. He should have took an interim fight, but he thought that he was going to get the fight.
But after this, he could have fought.
His eye socket broke it and being out for that long. That was the problem. But yeah,
but he could have fought after Kell Brook. That's what I'm saying. I'm not taking it against him. I'm just saying that
he should have.
He didn't fought much more than Thurman,
but that was probably the PBC saying, no, don't take a risk. You've got a belt. Just wait.
Well, you know what?
PBC fighters don't take risks.
We'll pay you more money. You wait, and you'll get more cash and a belt. So it's better off that way.
Did you see this picture that was on Twitter? It was like PBC will always be one of the things remembered, and it was next to like New Coke.
Oh yeah, I think that's who did that? Jimenez?
Yeah, I think he did that.
Clear Pepsi was even better.
Oh, I remember Crystal Pepsi, right?
Yeah.
What year was this in?
1991, maybe 1990.
Around for that.
But like New Coke, that was in the 80s, I believe.
What did they taste like?
It was delicious, man. Crystal Pepsi was delicious. I wish I could get some of that. It came back here in North America. It came back for a while, but it wasn't the same thing, man.
Yeah, Crystal Pepsi was 92 to 93.
Yeah, those were the days. Nowadays, these guys won't even fight each other. Can get good fights and can get some Crystal Pepsi, man. What do you think about that? No, of course I'm being
Hab's
facetious.
still around though, right?
Was that?
Hab's still around, right?
But listen, we're getting a good fight tonight, man, and next week as well. But I wanted to say something. Last week, I asked if Miguel Cotto was gonna cry during the interview, and I asked Gaia.
Oh, Lampley did though.
Jim Lampley did, but I asked.
Jim Lampley is very emotional. He'll cry over anything.
But that's what I asked Gaia 500. I said, "Do you think Jim Lampley is gonna cry?" And Gaia said, "No. According to all the data, 100%, he's not gonna cry." And Jim Lampley cried. So Gaia, what do you have to say about that? You fucked up. You're not as reliable as I thought you were.
Okay, faggots. Are you ready? One.
What?
Two.
The fuck is this?
3. Let's go.
All right, what the fuck is that?
That would be Max Kellerman's ring walk song if he was a fighter.
No, would be some kind of gospel song about Andrew Ward, man. That would be his entrance song.
He is SOG.
He has risen.
He is our savior.
But if you don't do what he says, he'll break your balls. Those are gonna be the lyrics. You know what? This freaking guy, man.
He beat Kovalev. And now every win Kovalev has proves how good Andre Ward was.
All right, guys, listen. We've been at this for about 3 hours now, almost 3 hours. I think it's time we shut it down and get a little relaxation before the big fight, or the big fights, I should say. I want to thank you guys for having shown up. You guys are what makes the show, obviously, man. You always come in here, you're funny, you're insightful. So I want to thank you, Ivan. I want to thank Reverse Lee. I want to thank you, Ray. I want to thank Hamed, who was here earlier as well, King Bucho, my co-host, and I also want to thank Cameron, who was also here for a while and gave us some insight. I hope Mariaga is not tracking him down or something, because Mariaga was sending him some really creepy comments, man. I mean,
Hey, Papa.
Was that? But anyway,
like he sent him this thing and he called him Papa.
Yeah, he called him Pop or Daddy. I mean, no, he didn't call him Daddy, but he called him Pop. So. Yeah, imagine if he calls you, man. I would throw the
puppy.
I would throw the phone into the lake, man. That's what I would do. But yeah, I want to thank everybody.
What if you like got up in the middle of the night to go like get a glass of water and you came back, it was Miguel Mariaga sitting in your bed with roses around him?
I would have to pull out the shotgun, man.
I would call Lomachenko. I don't know.
I would, don't
Please.
call. Or would you call
Make
Orlando?
him quit.
Would you call Orlando Cruz?
Who?
Orlando Cruz, the homosexual fighter.
No. Oh man.
Oh man. All right. So.
No, you call. You can call Max Kellerman. But wait, no, Mariage isn't black. Okay, that won't work.
No, it won't work. I think you're in the corner there. Gaia, anything you want to say before we leave? I mean, any insights? I mean, you didn't even answer our question about who's going to win the fight, but I mean, what can you tell us before we leave? Goodbye or anything? I'm going to ask you the question again. Who wins Rigondeaux versus Lomachenko? Come on, at least give us that.
I am so hot. I would fuck me. I would fuck me so hard.
All right, we're never going to get any straight answer from a fucking Gaia. Obviously, we still got to work out the glitches. Listen, I want to thank...
straight answer.
Yeah, straight answer. A twisted answer, if you ask me. I want to thank Akuma's Deception, Precise Puncher, who was in here in the chat, Moses Cabusao, Nicola Ferrari, Luis Catorce, all the usual suspects in the chat room. You guys know who you are. You make this show possible as well. Of course, I want to reiterate my thanks to every panelist that was on here. Thank you for your predictions and for keeping the show alive. And you know, we don't discriminate against anybody. We let you say whatever you want on the chat room, on the show, as long as you're not being disruptive. But you know, we allow everybody. Isn't that right, Gaia? Shouldn't we let everybody into the chat room?
I say let everyone into the chat room, except the Irish.
Okay, well, no, again, that's a fucking glitch there. So anyway, I want to
made it a whole week without talking about Adonis, man.
Well, that's because Lowplace wasn't here, so he's probably. I imagine Lowplace talking with somebody in a dark alley right now. Some guy with a trench coat smoking a cigarette, telling him all about, you know, the secret government plans about the Adonis Stevenson situation. So, I mean, I don't know. Listen, Lowplace, I wish he would have been here today, but I already got his prediction on Lomachenko-Rigondeaux. He thinks Lomachenko's going to win. What's that?
No, not a minute joke.
Oh, I don't. Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. All right, so I want to thank everybody in the chat room. Thank you for having been here. Enjoy the fight, and we will see you on the next one. Take care.
Okay, and
what's that?
One more. If Rigondeaux, I'm gonna take pictures of every time Rigondeaux hits the ground.
Okay, but hold on a second now. If Rigondeaux wins, you're gonna have to come back next week and eat some crow. And I don't care about your exams or midterms or whatever you gotta do. You gotta come back here and you gotta face the music.
And I will.
But you don't think it's gonna happen?
No.
All right, well, all right, guys. Listen, thank you for having joined us. It was a great podcast. I wish we could go on longer.
Oh yeah, robberies don't count, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, now you're. What's a robbery though?
Actually, no. I don't think Rigondeaux will get to 12. So never mind.
He's pretty confident, man. He's pretty confident. All right. Listen, guys, we'll see what happens. We got to go. Enjoy the fights. We'll see you next week. We got a lot to talk about as well. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care, folks.
Yeah.